Bryan, welcome, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for driving up. So it did actually take you like an hour to get here.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I was like, on the way up here, I was like, fuck, I forgot to clip my nails. And I stopped at the CVS on the way to buy it.
Okay, good. So then it actually didn't take you that long.
No, it didn't.
How long were your nails that you thought they would be noticeable on camera?
They were not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not even remotely. Like,
Okay.
it was totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you grow them out for a reason or they just grow fast?
No, they just grow fast.
Mine do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh. But that's like, does your hair grow fast too?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, for chicks, those are good things to have.
Yeah.
But I guess for you, maybe it's just a pain in the ass.
I guess.
You know?
I think it was just like a me being in my head thing, you know? Like, you know how we are.
I do.
Nobody cares. Nobody's going to notice.
Right,
like,
yeah.
But I am going to be like, oh my God, like my nails, they need to be clipped.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
That's something I would do. Honestly, that's something I would do. In fact, I recently Googled, because I'm always running super, super late, right? Today actually wasn't.
Yeah.
But normally I am.
Yeah.
And I am always still doing my hair or something in the car to the point where I recently looked up, I want to see if I can get like a cord, but for in the car with regular plugs so that I can curl my hair while I'm driving.
You can do that.
I know.
I mean, I don't think
that.
you should, but you could do that. You could totally do that.
Right. Dude, they have them for like people that are on their computers when they're like at breaks.
Yeah.
I'm thinking people are on their computers when they're trying to steal your Wi-Fi signal. But I'm sure there are legitimate reasons to have an actual outlet in your car. What would that even be?
So like, I remember when I was younger, we would take road trips to Florida, like, because I'm from New York. So typical like New Yorker, like winter vacation, you just go to Florida. Right. And a lot of people drive there. So we would drive there, and my stepdad at the time like got us that thing. Oh. So me and my stepbrother could like play video games in the car. Like, we had a little TV and our video game systems like in the car. So we could play them like while we were driving for, you know, a day or 2 days.
That is a legitimate reason.
Because it's like a 2-day trip when you stop.
Yeah. So it makes sense that they have them.
Yeah.
And I think the thing I saw on Amazon was for like construction tools too. It was like a truck and you're charging like, I don't know, a drill or something. Yeah. But I literally am to the point. Yeah, dude. I'm like, I need like to be able to straighten my hair as I'm driving to LA or below dry my hair in the car.
Yeah.
But you're right. I shouldn't do that.
I mean, if you're stopped, like you should, but like while driving, like I can just
Can you
picture
imagine
like
somebody looking over?
Like your knee is on the steering wheel and you're just fucking.
Can you imagine somebody seeing me? So you're from New York.
I am. Yeah.
Where in New York, and what was like, who was in the house growing up? What was your home life like? Talk to me about that.
So, you know, like the Amityville Horror House movie, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's the town that I was born and raised in, Amityville, New York. It's on Long Island.
I thought you were going to say that's how your house was.
No.
Like your parents and stuff. I was like, oh, Bryan.
And then I killed them. And then, no. Yeah. No. So, yeah, I grew up in...
The town is called Amity?
It's called Amityville.
Oh.
Yeah.
On Long Island?
It's on Long Island, yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, you always say on Long Island. You don't say in.
Right, yeah. I corrected it. I caught
You
it.
did.
I did.
I'm proud of you.
I did.
That's good. Yeah. So I grew up in Amityville, which my dad was an alcoholic, and my mom had some pretty gnarly bouts with mental health. So I don't really remember a lot of stuff from those early years. There was definitely like a lot of fighting going on. I do remember like hiding in the closet with my sister, like stuff like that, right? And then my mom left my dad and got a divorce, and we moved to my grandparents' house in Massapequa. And
also in New York.
Yes, also on Long Island, yes. So as a 5-year-old, I'm just like, okay. So another one too is like when my mom left, she was really like struggling bad. I think she was getting electric shock therapy treatments at the time. And like, I think she was like suicidal, she was not okay. So I have memories of like trying to go into her room and my grandma being like, "Mom's sleeping." So as a 5-year-old, I think that's where that trauma or whatever, those bullshit narratives, as I like to call them, started. With just like, where is my mom and dad all of a sudden? And like, as a kid, I think we're all like narcissists when we're children, and it's always our fault. right?
Did you have a sibling?
I did. Yeah, I had an older sibling.
Okay. And they're with you?
I have an older sibling.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And they were with you in the house, obviously?
They were, yeah.
Okay, okay. Did you see your dad after that?
I did see him, yeah. It was kind of difficult because it was like they were fighting like court-wise over custody, and my mom was fighting for full custody. So my dad wanted to see us, but it was like this thing, you know? And it was like it started out where like he would get his Sunday visits and we would see him on Sundays. And then I think there was a story where like I don't remember it, but I think my sister maybe remembered it. I don't really, a lot of this stuff is like, it's
anecdotal stories from
exactly
whenever. Yeah.
But I think there was a story of how like my dad on one of our visits like went to the bar and left us in the truck and like went and like got a tune up real quick.
Right. Yeah.
And then my mom found out about that and then was like, no more visits. And then the visits were like supervised, and that was like really fucking weird.
Oh, so then something did happen if they became supervised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
who would supervise them?
Just like some county worker.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
You know, like it was just some lady.
Right. Okay. So then, yeah, definitely he left you in the truck or something happened.
Something happened.
You know, he had to pay for those supervisors too.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Which I point that out because do you have a decent relationship with your dad?
I did. He passed away, but I did have a really good relationship with him, especially towards the end.
That's kind of why I point that out, because I know so many guys, obviously, you know, being in recovery.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that they refuse to pay for that counselor. And so they just never see their kids again.
Yeah.
And your dad had to pay for that counselor. And they're actually not cheap. So like on your dad's behalf, he was paying for that.
So that was
It's like a couple $100 every fucking time. And I know so many guys are like, fuck that, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
And they just never see him again.
That was something that like made it harder, I think, about the split up was like, to me, in my eyes, like my dad was awesome. Like he was such a cool, loving, awesome dude. It's either I didn't see it or I just blacked it out, like the bad stuff of like the yelling and like what the fighting and like, you know, he wasn't like abusive. I think there was like throwing shit and like arguments, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, he was a good dude. So I think that gave me another narrative of like, what the fuck, Mom? Like, why did you leave this awesome guy? You know?
Have you watched Breaking Bad?
I have, but not like enough to know like
if I reference something. Okay. I'm watching it right now. And the guy's a drug dealer, right? That's not a spoiler or anything.
Yes, that part I know.
Okay.
Yes.
And the wife, when she finds out, like kicks him out, but she doesn't tell anyone. And so the son like fucking hates her.
Yeah.
Because he seems like he's just a scientist at a school.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad for the wife because I did that to my mom too. My dad is amazing. My mom is amazing. But like divorce makes everything so much harder. It brings out the worst versions of everybody.
Yeah.
And like, it's so funny to me when you look back what you don't know when you're a kid.
Sure.
About what's really fucking happening.
Yeah.
And when I look back, like, oh my gosh, my mom was like the best mom ever. She made sure that she just was above and beyond. And I couldn't see any of that. And he was super fun.
Yeah.
And so when he left, I was like, this is your fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now when I'm older, I'm like, damn, I mean, yeah, she was really looking out for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so funny when you look back.
It had to have been bad for her to leave, you know?
Sure. Especially then, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like, wasn't as calm. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's not true.
I mean, no, it definitely wasn't.
Right.
Especially like my dad was Irish Catholic. My mom was kind of like, I want to say she's like agnostic.
Yeah. So, yeah, not common. And she had to move back in with her parents.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
You know? So are you how do you do in school as you start to grow up, and what are you into? Are you like, I see you as like a skateboarder.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Nailed it.
Really?
Nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, there's some clues.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, even actually just personality wise and the age that we're talking about, the 90s, I can see you being a skateboarder because that was like the thing to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
So moving around was hard, you know, and I definitely developed like that's where I definitely got like the people pleasing, we can say character defect or just survival tactic.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a little nicer thing to say.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think
Coping skill.
Yeah, that's like where that came from for sure, is like moving around a lot. And then like making new friends. And then, so after Massapequa with the grandparents, my mom got on her feet enough to get her own place. And then we moved to this town called Babylon. And this is how, like, I know how rad my mom is too, is because like she got a 2-bedroom condo and she gave me a bedroom and my sister a bedroom, and she slept on a mattress on the floor in the fucking living room of this place just so that we can each have our own bedroom. Like, so my mom is just like the best human ever. Yeah, she's so rad.
Where does she live now?
She lives in Orient, which is like the ass end of Long Island on the North Fork. Okay. And she loves it. It's just like the last of like the farmland and like wineries and like just like super cool kind of like estate sales. She loves doing that kind of stuff. Yeah.
You guys might be able to hear Anthony talking into the mic. No, sir. I don't want to have to lock you out, but I will. So when is the first time that you get high, and how do you do academically?
So school was tough. I didn't do well in school at all. I remember they tried to put me into like special ed, but that didn't work because they would like test me for whatever, right? And then I'd get really good grades on the tests. Okay. So
yeah, why were they even thinking special ed in the first place?
I think like I definitely had some kind of ADHD where like I just couldn't pay attention or like whatever, you know? Yeah, I think too, like when, to backtrack a little bit, like when my parents split up when I was 5, I remember my mom sent me to therapy. And I remember it was like this old guy that like smelled weird and like had these really like weird outdated toys all over his office. And it was just like this weird thing that just made like, that was where the narrative of like, there's something wrong with you, like you're different, like that's where that started. So that kind of like throughout like moving around and like all that stuff, like further supported that narrative. And then by the time I got to Babylon, I remember there was like an exact fork in the road moment for me where I was in 7th grade and there was this cool older kid that I don't know if he like was dating my sister or like whatever. Like he was older, but he was like in my sister's grade. And he came up to me randomly and was like, "What are you doing right now?" And I was like, going to math class. And he's like, "Do you want to come outside?" And I was like, and I thought about it like, am I going to cut class? Like what? And I was just like, yeah. And I went outside and like, that was the exact moment where it was like, okay, you're going this way, brother. Like fucking get ready, dude.
Yeah. Did you guys smoke a cigarette or what'd you guys do?
I ripped a dart. Yep. Smoked a cigarette. Yep. And then later he was the first person that was my first mind altering substance was I smoked weed with him. And I went to his house, which was like ironically across the street from where I lived. So that was like really weird. We upgraded, we moved out of the condo and into a house. Okay. And his house was like literally across the street. So I'm like trying to like not be seen going to this person's house who lives literally across the street. Yeah. Yeah. I remember I took like 2 really big bong rips and I was like just blasted and had that first initial feeling of like, this is the way I want to feel for the rest of my life.
You did right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like right away.
And this is still 7th grade?
7th grade, yep. Okay. And I remember too beforehand, like I think addiction is in us innately, right? Because I remember like even being a little kid, there was this like certain medicine that you got that was bubblegum flavored. Okay. And my mom was kind of like, is like a very healthy person. So she tried to not like let us have junk food stuff. So I remember like getting this bubblegum medicine and then pretending to be sick after so I could get more bubblegum medicine that like didn't do anything to you. Like right. It wasn't a mind altering thing, but it just tasted really good. Right. And so I wanted more.
Yep. Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think there are this is something I say on the show all the time. There are all these like hallmarks of addiction that show up long before the substance.
Yeah.
And me, it was the rules don't apply to me.
Yeah.
And always wanting to take the easy way out.
Yeah.
And food a little, like, you know, but I think there are so many things like that do show up. And that's definitely one of them, you know?
Yeah.
So you're in 7th grade. You smoke weed, you like it right away.
Yep.
So, because that's rare. Usually when I interview people, usually they don't necessarily think that right away. Maybe if it's alcohol. I guess if it's alcohol, maybe sometimes people do. Maybe that's wrong. But weed, you know, like you don't always get high the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was like
You were all
tripping
in.
balls like high.
Yeah.
I remember there was a ceiling fan with a light, and I was just like laid back on the futon, and there like I was seeing like boxes like coming towards me,
And you loved it.
and I just stared at the fan
Yeah.
for like 4 hours straight.
So how often does it start coming up in your life now? Like, do you start seeking it out?
All day, every day.
Really? From
Yeah.
that day?
So like it took a little bit of time from that day, but like from that day, I wanted that all day, every day. But it took me some time to like meet the right people to be able to get it
Yeah.
all day, every day. But yeah, it progressed very quickly to me. Just like I was that kid that like wanted to smoke like 8 vanilla Dutch Master blunts every day.
Yeah. So you're a
Like-
total stoner guy.
Total stoner guy.
How do you get the money to buy weed in 7th grade, 8th grade?
So that was like this really great, awesome thing that I love so much that I did. You know, I like to say that like I had no conception of money and like, you know, what it takes to like make it, which is kind of true, but like also like that's bullshit. Like I would take my mom's debit card and I would go to the bank and I would just take money out and then give it back to her. And she wouldn't notice until a couple times of me doing that, like taking a couple $100 out. She eventually was like,
What do you mean give it back to her?
like the card.
Oh, the card.
So
okay,
I would
think
like
the cash
replace the
somehow.
card without
Okay,
her
right,
knowing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she didn't notice for a while?
She didn't notice for a while.
Wow, like months?
I don't know.
Okay.
You know, I
Yeah.
definitely know that I got away with it for a little while before she was like, what the fuck is going on? And went to the bank and saw that it was like me on the video.
no.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did she do when that happened?
That was kind of the beginning of like, what's going on?
Okay.
There's
did you admit? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you did. You said I'm smoking weed. I
sure.
stole it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she knew by that point that I was smoking weed already, but she didn't know that I was like taking money from her to support that. And then I had like little jobs, I think too, like here and there. Like I worked at Dairy Barn and like whatever. Like I would just ask her for like, she was a cool mom. Like I'd be like, hey, can I get $20 to go to the movies? And she'd be like, yeah. And it wasn't to go to the movies. So it was just one of those things. That's how I supported it for a while as a teenager. And then I started getting into party drugs a little bit. I tried drinking. So you mentioned like drinking. The first time that I tried drinking, I hated it. It was like, I was at this place, it was called Hawley's, and it was so dumb because it was like this park that had this cement block that everyone would hang out at. But it was literally like on Deer Park Avenue, which is like one of the main like roads on Long Island.
Uh-huh.
So it's like find the busiest road in
And that's
San
where all the
Diego.
kids hang out. Yeah.
And then like find like a place behind a bush, like 50 feet behind that road.
Right.
And that's where everybody hangs out.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
genius.
So it wasn't a business called Holly's. It was just a spot called Holly's.
Spot. I don't know why we
I wonder
called
where the
it.
name came
because
from.
it was Hawley's Pond, like that
Okay.
park that it was
Okay.
at was Hawley's Pond.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember drinking, and I like drank a beer, and then finished like half of the second one, and then like poured it out like against the brick wall so that like nobody would hear like that I was pouring it out. And then I remember I called my sister, and she picked me up, and I was in the back seat, and I threw up in the car, and I thought I threw up out the window, and she didn't notice, or maybe she just acted like she didn't notice. But the next day my mom was like, what happened? Because some of the throw up like got into the car, like the door handle, like it didn't make it, and it was red. So like, I don't know if it was like blood. I don't know.
Yeah.
Gross. It was like foamy red, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck happened? Right. So yeah, that was my first. So I never drank alcohol. I hated it from that moment on. And then I started experimenting with just like I would like do cocaine or like do ecstasy, party drugs, nothing crazy, but like just like dabbling. Right. And then the school therapist was like working with me and my mom because of the stuff that was going on, right? And they were like, I think you should get him help, right? And so I remember going to, it was like kind of you would spend like half the day at the high school, and then the other half of the day you would go to this place called Bosie's, which was like a trade school kind of thing, secondary school where like the bad kids went, right? And
alternative school.
Yeah, exactly. Where you would take like a small engines class and like, you know, rebuild a lawnmower, and they'd be like, "You got it, buddy." Like, yeah, you're gonna do big things. Yeah. But what was cool about that was that I found out that if you don't get on the bus to get driven to the other school, they don't care, and they don't keep track of attendance, and like they don't write you up, and you don't get in trouble. So I would just purposely miss the bus every day.
Right.
Yeah. So then that escalated, right? I think the school therapist was like, "Hey, so there's this thing called a PINS petition, which is like person in need of supervision, which is basically like kids probation."
Okay.
So because I kept cutting school and I kept like smoking pot and whatever else I was doing and just skateboarding, like all I wanted to do was skateboard. Like I was obsessed with skateboarding and smoking weed. It was kind of like the movie Kids, you know? But like I was one of the younger kids. I wasn't like Casper or like the other guy, right? I was like one of like the little Spanish kids that are like smoking blunts on the couch with their shirts off, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I got put on this PINS petition thing, and then I violated it, or like whatever, right? Like I didn't have like a PO or anything, like, but I guess they would just check in with my mom and be like, "How's he doing?" And she'd be like, "He's still fucking up." And so I remember I was sitting outside of my house on my skateboard smoking a cigarette, and I think my sister was home, and she made the call and was like, "He's home." And the cops came and arrested me.
No way.
Yep. Yeah.
How old were you?
I think I was like 15 or like 15 turning 16.
Shit.
Yeah, I was 15. The timeline's kind of like junky, but I don't think that I went to 10th grade.
Okay. Do you remember what you thought when they arrested you and put you in handcuffs and you were 15?
I was just like, what the fuck's going on?
And there's no charge.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't really remember like that instance super great, but I remember sitting in the courtroom and being sentenced and then being like, "You're going away," and being just like shattered. Just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just smoking weed and like skateboarding.
Holy shit.
You know, like I wasn't like doing heroin yet. I wasn't like smoking crack yet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure I would have got there either way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's also one more mark for I'm on the outside of what's normal.
Yeah.
You know.
There's something wrong with you, Bryan.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So where do they send you?
So I get arrested, and then I go to this place called South Oaks, which was like a mental institution. Oh my gosh. And so I go there, right? And I guess they didn't take my insurance or something like that. So there was some kind of confusion there. And I remember I was like handcuffed like on the back, and I did like the slip-a-roo where you like, you know, slip the handcuffs in front, and I like got tackled and put back in handcuffs the correct way. And so from there,
you weren't running. You just moved it to the front.
I just did it to the front, and I like got up, and I think I was like trying to walk out of the door.
Sure, for sure. Yeah.
You know, like I don't really remember, but I remember like I got tackled, and it was like not. They were like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. Like, yeah.
Were you mad at your sister for that?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. You know, because she like, we have like the best relationship now, but we did not like each other growing up because like I was the bad kid and was like clearly hurting our mother and like putting her through a lot. And she was, in my eyes, like the good kid, but like she was drinking and like partying and doing stuff, but like she was just not doing it alcoholically where like she was using her frontal lobe, you know, like where she wouldn't get caught. Whereas I was just like, I don't fucking care. Like weed, skateboarding, weed, that's it. Yeah. There was no other like,
That whole, the 90s younger brother who is reading High Times, smoking weed, rollerblading or skateboarding. Rollerblading is probably a little bit young for you, but
no,
old.
Fruit booting was definitely a thing. Yeah.
Because I was the good older sister who did well, and my brother was the younger weed smoking, reading High Times, He had grew his hair long. He had like no effects posters in his room.
Yeah.
Remember Silverchair?
Of course.
He loved Silverchair.
The frog.
Yes.
That was like one of the best album covers ever.
That
Just
he had that
frog.
poster in his room.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's such a moment. And I wonder, I mean, I'm sure there's still that dynamic, but like, it's like a trope of the good older sister, but who isn't really. Because like I smoked cigarettes, I drank a little. I didn't get into hard shit till later, but I wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
There's the good older sister. Yeah. Like there could be so many movies about this, the 90s trope. And then the younger brother who is like wearing Vans and skateboarding and has got posters of Nirvana and no effects in his room and is smoking weed. I told on my brother also. And that's why I asked, not to the cops, but to my dad once.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was like the biggest fight we'd ever gotten into in our entire lives. We also struggled a lot over the years. And a lot of that dynamic was like me being the good one.
Yep.
You know, and then I ended up being a fucking heroin addict. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm sure he loved that.
Dude, I did heroin at his wedding, and everybody was so mad at me. Like, this is before nobody really knew yet.
Yeah.
But he became like the youngest sous chef at this really nice resort in South Carolina, and blah blah. We married this girl, and I brought heroin to the wedding. So we completely fucking flipped later.
Yeah.
Yes,
he found his niche.
Yes, yeah, he did. Yes, he found cooking, which became like a big, you know, that was a big like driver for him back into finding purpose.
Yeah,
and you know, changing
and
some of the behavior.
Like it's so addict friendly because you're just like
you know, it's incredibly intense.
Yes,
you have to be completely focused. You know, so they send you to this institution. How long do you stay there?
So I get arrested. I go to the first place. My insurance doesn't cover it or whatever. So then they bring me to this random like holding facility house, and I spend the night there. And that was like scary. Yeah. I remember that being scary because it was like this just weird place.
Like a boys' home? Like
it
bunk
was
beds?
No, it was dual because there was a girl there that had a cast on her arm because a couple days prior she tried to crawl out of the window with the blankets tied together, and it was up like stories high. And she fell and broke her arm and then still ran away. And then they caught her like a day or two later and brought her back. So I remember that story of like, yeah, Sally, like, you know, tried to escape and they caught her and she broke her arm. Yeah.
Just horrifying.
Just like crazy shit. And I'm just like, what? This whole time, I'm just like, what is this? Like, but also like really scared too.
Of course. Yeah.
So then I go to court and then the court says like, you violated your PINS petition, like you're going away. And I didn't know what going away meant, but I knew like I wasn't going to be coming home anytime soon. So it was just like, I remember that feeling like devastated. And so from there, that little holding place, I go to this other hospital, Sagamore Children's Hospital. And so this is like a psych hospital where you go to get evaluated. And I remember that being really scary because there were kids there that like, this is New York, so like there's kids there that like murdered their parents or like really gnarly, like severe mental health stuff. And I'm just like, what am I doing here? But yeah, you go there to get evaluated. And I was there for probably like a month and a half. And then they deemed it necessary for me to go to a therapeutic boarding school. I'm sure you've heard about these therapeutic boarding schools.
Like the ones in Utah.
So like Sam.
Yeah, Sam
right?
went
and
to
like
one.
Vegas, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you went to one also.
I did.
Okay. Was yours in Utah?
No.
Okay.
It was in New York.
Not that makes a difference, obviously.
Doesn't.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old are you by the time you get there? Now you're 16 maybe?
So I'm probably like 16 by the time I get there. Yeah. Like it was like 15, 16. I'm pretty sure that I was from the moment that I got arrested was 3 years.
Yeah. Before you were placed?
No, like I was away, like in different places until I turned 18 and was able to sign myself out.
Okay, so I want to go back to all that, but you work in treatment now.
I do, yeah.
When you look at those situations now, what do you think is the appropriate response for a 15-year-old who was smoking weed and skipping school? Do you think it's that?
Yeah.
You do? You do think it's extreme intervention?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were like asking like my response to it.
Right.
Of like, what the fuck?
No. What do you think? Like if you had a son who was 15 and he's skateboarding and smoking weed and skipping school, what do you do?
Not that. But at the same time, like I totally understand that at that time. And you watch the documentaries and stuff.
That's what they told everybody to do.
They were telling the parents,
for
like,
sure.
My high school therapist was like, this is what is best for your son.
Absolutely.
Right? To my mom. So like, of course she's going to be like, okay, do it.
Yeah. Same with Vegas's parents. Same with Sam's parents.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think, but I also have thought about that. Like, and if I would have stayed in Babylon and that didn't happen to me, maybe my defects wouldn't be as gnarly and I wouldn't have had as much trauma, but I'm pretty positive I would have started doing heroin and smoking crack eventually anyway, which we'll get to that part because that's what happened either way.
Totally.
So like,
yeah, it's so hard. Like, what do you do if obviously I don't have kids, but I thought about that so many times. What do you do? And like the counselors at our school also recommended a place like that for my brother. Yeah. And my dad was like, send him. And my mom said, no. Yeah. And they didn't send him. But he did arguably get kind of worse. He kept drinking. He ended up in this horrible car accident. He almost died. It's like, it's just so hard to know what to do.
I think you'd like, it's kind of like what we were talking about before. Like, if you want the help, you're going to get it no matter where you go.
Totally.
If you don't want it, you're not going to get it.
Right.
Whether you stay home or like if you want to do drugs and become a drug addict, like you're going to do it whether you get sent away or whether you stay home.
Totally.
Or you go to this place or that place. So like, I don't think that there's anything that's could be done. I guess maybe like therapy would help.
Therapy, maybe a different school. Like, what would I actually do? Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, but they tried that with me.
Yeah, they did try that.
You know? And that didn't work. I just didn't go to the alternative school.
Yeah. So what was your experience during the 3 years at all of the different places?
Terrible.
Okay.
Terrible. So some of it was good. Some of it was like extreme, really bad. So some of the places were like extreme behavioral modification, like take all the trash out of the dumpster, like clean it with a toothbrush or like a small scrub brush, and then put all the trash right back into the dumpster. Or like, you know, just the nightmare stuff that you hear of like, there's like blanket parties that you do where like you throw the blanket on the new guy and then beat the shit out of him. Just like cool stuff like that, you know, just cool, fun juvie stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
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 So do you graduate from high school through these places? You get a degree?
No. So I finally get placed into said therapeutic boarding school after going to like so many different holding like juvenile facilities. They're like little holding houses, they call them, until you get placed into the like wherever the court orders you to go. And then when I finally got to that place, it was called Summit School and it was in Nyack, New York. And it was literally just this old mansion that was on the Hudson River that they like transformed into a campus. And like the best way to describe it was college, but for troubled, addicted kids. So like I was surrounded by other kids that were just like me or like worse. And so I learned a lot there.
Yeah.
And it was also gnarly where like, you know, like girls would like overdose and then like the staff would like rape them on the way to the hospital. Like, you know,
so
like
one of the places like that a documentary would be about.
It wasn't.
Is it closed now?
I hope so. I would imagine. Yeah. I never looked. You know, I kind of just never looked back. Right?
We should see.
I never looked back.
I think most of them are closed now.
Yeah, a lot of those places, like Daytop was one of the places that I went to, and like that was one of the places that was mentioned on that Netflix documentary of like, you know, gnarly places. Like I was only there for a couple days, but yeah. So I just bounced around a lot, right? So I turn 18. And now I can sign myself out. But before I want to get into, I was at this therapeutic boarding school and I kept smoking weed because it was an open campus and they had day kids. So the day kids would bring drugs because they'd go home every night. And so they would bring drugs and I just kept getting in trouble. And I think I racked up like the record for, they would let you go home on the weekends if you were good, right? There was like Vegas was saying like there's like a reward system. But if you got caught smoking weed, it would be like 30 days no off grounds. And I think I racked up like 5 years no off grounds, you know?
Yeah.
The counselors were like, you got the record, bud.
So you keep smoking weed?
I keep smoking weed the whole time in there and getting caught. So then they would send me back to another psych ward to get reevaluated. And then the psych ward would be like, he's not like a terrible kid, like send him back. And I did that a couple times. And then they sent me again to like a gnarlier place. And while I was in this place, also, I want to say I overdosed for the first time.
Okay. On heroin?
No. So one of the things that we did was we would do Coricidin. You remember like the triple C's or whatever?
I never did it, but I know what you're talking about.
So you gain a tolerance to them like really fast. So you take 8 when you first do it, and it like kind of makes you trip out a little bit. And then the next couple times, like I took like 56 pills or something, right? And I remember being super high, but like feeling good and being okay. And I was in my room and I had to pee so bad. And I had to walk through to get to the bathroom. I had to pass like the main room where all the staff members were at, like chilling. So I had to like walk, like make it past them and be like, I hope they don't find out. Like, oh my God, right? And so I pass them and I get to the bathroom and I use it. And then on the way back, there was this guy, Kyle, right? And he was this like big, like Biggie, he was Biggie Smalls, literally. And he's like, yo, B, what's up? And I was like, fuck. And he's like, come here.
This is an employee,
This
a
is an
staff?
employee.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like, come here. He like makes me sit down on the couch next to him. And he's like, what's up? And I was like, nothing, man. I just had to pee. Like, what's going on? And he's like, yo, you need to go to the nurse, B. And I was like, fuck, dude. So I went to the nurse and they were like, you need to go to the hospital, like right now. You're overdosing.
What were you displaying? What were you exhibiting?
I mean, I was tripping balls, so I don't really know. But
Okay.
in my head, I was fine.
In your head, you walked right to the urinal, turned around, and walked back.
Yeah, I was
wonder what
good.
you actually did.
Right? That's actually a good question. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
What did I actually do?
Yeah, what were you actually doing?
I don't know.
The reason I ask is because have you heard of there's another treatment center? I'll cut this out, but FRC, Family Recovery Center in Oceanside.
Yeah.
I was there. And I swear to God, I was outside. I'd relapsed again. And I was outside just smoking a cigarette with these 2 girls.
Yeah.
I remember smoking a cigarette. We had a conversation. We went back in. Within 30 seconds, someone came to drug test me. And I was dirty and they kicked me out. Something happened when I smoked that cigarette. My recollection is that no idea. But I obviously was so high, they told on me. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, and I found out later it was that girl told on me. So I did something during the course of that cigarette.
Was it like a Sherm? Was it
No,
like dipped in PCB?
no. I had done heroin already. I was on heroin,
Okay.
and we went outside to smoke. They didn't know. Like I was,
Got
like
it.
I did a shot by myself, but
Yeah.
I'd been doing that for a few days.
Yeah.
And then we went outside. I mean, I'm assuming I just like super nodded out and didn't realize it.
Probably.
I mean, obviously,
Right.
that's probably
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, what could have happened?
Yeah.
Obviously, I nodded out. You know,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do heroin.
Yeah.
But I have no blank spot in the memory. I remember talking to them. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But so I wonder what you were actually doing, walking sideways or something. Who knows?
I don't know. Like he must have just seen how like laser focused I was to like, you know, get to just fucking get back to the
Right.
room and just get, you know,
Yeah.
don't be seen, you
Yeah.
know, maybe, who knows,
And then
right?
maybe we went to the nurse who had like barely a pulse or something.
Something,
Yeah.
where he was like, you need to go to the ER.
Yeah.
And then I remember being in the ER and they gave me like the activated charcoal to drink. And then I had to pee again. And I went to go pee, but I couldn't pee. So that was gnarly of like,
Yeah.
like imagine like having to pee the worst you've ever had to pee ever,
Yeah.
but just like sitting down on the toilet and just nothing, like it just doesn't work.
Because you're so relaxed, you can't go.
You can't.
That would happen to me on heroin sometimes.
Yeah.
Did that ever happen to you on heroin?
Yes.
Uh-huh. I could eventually, but it would take a
But
while.
you
It would
have
take at
to
least
really
5 minutes.
fucking concentrate.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Mhm.
So yeah, my kidneys just like stopped working, I guess, right? Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
good.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that was cool because that, I guess maybe that would have happened like at the rehab, like or at the treatment center,
Sure.
like in my room,
And you
then I
actually
would have had
overdosed
to
alone.
gone
Totally.
anyway. So it worked out.
Yeah.
And they put a catheter in me and then like pressed on my stomach and it was like the best feeling ever. I was like, oh my God, thank God.
Yeah.
And then I just like went. So from there, that was the moment where they were like, okay, like he's got to go. Like he's had enough chances. Like it's over for him. And so then they sent me to another place that was like higher security, but that place had adults in it. So it was like gnarly. And I remember I had this thing where if I punched a wall a bunch of times hard enough, my pinky would like either break or like the knuckle would like swell up into this big bubble, like blood would fill up into it. So when I got there, I didn't want to be there so bad that I just punched this cement wall until my pinky broke. And I was like, my pinky's broken. You got to take me to the hospital. I need to get out of here. Because that was my only way, like out of that place, right? Yeah, it's crazy, like the things that we'll do, you know?
How long did you ultimately stay there at that place?
Not long.
Okay.
It was like maybe a week before I was like, there's no way I'm doing this. And like, I'm just going to punch this wall. Okay. And then by that time, my mom was like, okay. And she pulled me out and she took me back home. Okay. And then they got me into this place called Kids Peace, which was like another one of those places. But I had to wait for a bed there. So my mom let me live at her house while I was waiting for a bed. And that is when I tried my first Oxycontin. And talk about like, I need to feel this way for the rest of my life. Like that was the second that I had an opiate in me. I was like, I have arrived. You know, like you hear it from us, you know, all heroin addicts are like, the first time I did it, it was like the warm hug I never got from my mom when I was like my mom hugged the shit out of me. Right. Like she's the best, but like, you know, that's the narrative, right?
Did you smoke it or snort it that first time? I
snorted the first one. Yeah. They were like the Oxycontin.
The originals, probably,
the
right?
OGs. Yeah. The original Oxycontins that like they were just prescribing everybody. And it was a 20 milligram Oxycontin. And I sniffed it and it was like, this is it. This is it. And so then I was doing opiates, right? And kept doing pills while I was home. And then I finally get sent to Kids Peace, right? And I get there and I'm like, why do I feel like I'm fucking dying? Why am I so sick? And I had no idea that like when you do opiates, like you're going to kick and you're going to have withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that either.
No clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was 31. Definitely should have known.
I was like you were 17, turning 18. Yeah.
I have no excuse.
Right.
I have no excuse. Where were you getting oxys while you were home?
So it was a friend whose dad had a prescription.
Okay, so they were free and available.
Yeah, or like I would pay for them, but like not a lot.
Okay.
Right? Like I made it work.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I get to this place and I'm like,
and you're kicking without knowing.
And I'm kicking, and I remember they had these like the showers had bathtubs, and the bathtubs were like disgusting, like hadn't been cleaned in probably ever, like bathtubs. And I just didn't care. And I got in the bath and laid down in this like dirty fucking bath. I found a way to like plug the drain and like got in this bathtub and just laid in it.
Yeah.
And did that like as much as I possibly could until I started feeling better. Right. And you know, like an oxy kick like isn't as gnarly as a heroin or a fentanyl kick. Right. So it was a couple days. And then so what happened was I very shortly after being at that place, I turned 18. And so when you turn 18, like you're not a ward of the state anymore. Like, so that's what it was. I was a ward of the state. But now that I'm like my own man, right? Such a man at 18, right? I was able to sign myself out, but they needed proof that I had a place to stay. So I call my mom, I'm leaving. Like, you can't keep me here anymore. I'm out. Like, can I come live with you? Absolutely not. Right. Then I call my dad. And I'm like, Dad, can I stay with you? Like, I can't be here anymore. Like, I'm over this. It's been 3 years. Like, and he's like, hold on a second. And then he goes and talks to his wife then, and then comes back and he's like, I'm sorry, kid. I love you, but like, you can't come. So obviously, like, he asked and she was like, absolutely fucking not. And, you know, yeah. So then I called my friend Arthur and his dad. So this was one of my best friends growing up. His mom passed away when he was young, and his dad was like this really cool hippie guy. And they lived in a house where like the dad was downstairs and had his own apartment. And then Arthur had the whole upstairs of the house, which was like 3 or 4 different bedrooms up there. That was completely like a trap house. Like we just did whatever, right? So I called Arthur and was like, hey, listen, man, I just need you to tell this place, or your dad to tell this place, that I have a place to live so that they can let me out of here. And he was like, yeah, sure. So like his dad was cool enough where he got on the phone and was like, yeah, he can stay here. So then they gave me a bus pass to get on the bus to Grand Central Station. And so I have all of my shit in this big garbage bag, right? And so I'm going to mention some, we call them God shots, right? Yeah. But for anybody that's listening, that's like new or doesn't really know about recovery or is struggling, like when I say God, it's just a 3-letter word that's easier to say that describes a higher power that I've learned to do business with. It has nothing to do with religion, a little bit, but we'll get there, right? So just if I say God, it's just like, it's not.
That's a good caveat to add.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean God and Jesus Christ and like the Catholic Church.
It's a 3-letter word that's easier to say.
Agree. Yeah.
Okay. So these God shots that happened in my life, right? This is one of them. So I'm still kicking kind of, and I have all of my stuff in a garbage bag, and I'm dragging it from Grand Central Station to Penn Station, which is a couple blocks, right? Because I need to get to Penn Station to then get on the Long Island Railroad to get home, to get to Arthur's house. I get to the point where I can't hold it over my like I can't Santa Claus it anymore. Like I'm just dragging this garbage bag full of my shit
on the sidewalk.
Yeah, on the sidewalk, like in New York City. And so I'm walking through Penn Station, right? And the garbage bag rips open and explodes, and all of my stuff is just scattered in Penn Station, which is like there's like 10,000 people running through it at any given time, right? So I'm like, I'm fuck, like, oh my God. A janitor, right when it happens, walks by with the little cart. And I'm like, dude, please, can you help me? Like, please give me a garbage bag. And I don't know if it was like a he or a she. Like, I don't even remember. I just remember the garbage bag, right? Yeah. So I get a garbage bag and I put all my stuff in a new garbage bag. I get on the train and I make it to Arthur's house. And now this is when my addiction really ramps up because now I'm free. I don't have to worry about like getting sent away anymore. Like I just spent 3 years or almost 3 years, whatever it was, like being locked up in different places, right? And so I just go balls to the wall.
What's the first thing you start doing?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Do you seek out Oxy as soon as you get there?
For sure. Like, like Oxy is number one priority, right? But like it was pretty much a trap house that was known in the community of like, this is where everybody goes to do drugs safely, right? Where you're not going to get caught. You're not going to get in trouble. Like literally it was just like a mattress on the floor that I was sleeping on with like no sheets, nothing on it, right? And there was like really minimal furniture. Like it was awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. It was really great. I mean, I had shelter, so it was amazing.
It's like ideal.
Yeah, it was so good. And all my friends were there, and it was just like, and then people would come there and bring drugs because that was the place to like use. So like, it was just like great, right? But yeah, that's when like I started doing oxys, and then I learned about heroin, right? And like how China White is cheaper than Oxycontins, and that's when Oxycontin started getting really expensive. So it'd be like $1 a milligram. So like an 80 milligram Oxycontin was $80. And it's like, that's insane. So I started sniffing heroin.
How long is it before you graduate to heroin? And do you work there? Do you get a job or anything?
No. Okay. No. Yeah.
So pretty soon after arriving, you just moved to heroin?
Right away.
Okay.
Yeah. Doing heroin, pretty much anything that anyone would bring, you know, it was never like, oh no, like I won't do that. Right. You know? It was just anything that people would bring there as like the safe haven place to get high, we would do it. And then this kid Arthur, right? So we'll just say, to be nice, we'll say like on the spectrum, right? Super smart, genius kid, right? And so I was 18 at the time. So this was like, I was born in 86. So what's that? 96, 2006. So like 2008.
2008. Okay.
Or no, 2004, because I'm 18.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right? So I'm 18. So 2004, this kid is emailing this like lab in China saying that he is a doctor and is like testing these research chemicals on like rats or whatever.
Right. Okay.
And they would just mail drugs to the fucking mailbox. And so we were doing like all of these research chemicals like 2CI, 2CT4, like 5-MeO-DMT, like all of it.
And this is like Silk Road days, right? Like sort of all that. And I had no idea any of that stuff was happening. 2004, I wasn't really that bad yet. But like, so he was one of like the pioneers of that.
He was like the first guy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How did you guys have money to buy anything?
I think it was just like because we lived in the house.
People would just give you stuff.
People would just come with stuff, right?
So do you have any hustles yet that you have to come up with? Have you? Beyond the first one of taking money from your mom, has anything else this whole time become like a little like hustle that you do yet?
I mean, I would definitely like sell drugs or like whatever. Like we would try
like
to have
stuff.
like it was definitely that. Yeah, it was just middleman and just being like one of the cool kids that like lived at the actual house.
Yeah.
Right. and just kind of manipulating that. I
Right.
was really
You
good
went
at
pretty
like
far on just that.
I did.
You know?
I was really good at like, and this is where like the people pleasing I was talking about comes in, right? Like I was really good at like being friends with anybody, like hypervigilance that I got from like my tumultuous childhood, right? So like I could read the room and know like, so yeah, it would just get mailed, like they would just mail us stuff. And then that was another hustle of like we could sell the research
Right,
chemicals,
yeah.
right? And so then it progressed to doing heroin. I never shot up. I was never an IV user.
Ever? Oh, okay.
Never used a needle. Thank God. Because like how I use, like it would have been, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Who knows though?
Who
knows? Right. So then I'm like doing heroin and I'm smoking crack. That's when I start smoking crack. And then like it gets bad.
Do you pick up a habit with the heroin? Like you're dope sick if you don't have it?
Absolutely. 1,000%. Yeah. So then my mom finally like intervened and knew like what was going on and that I was living in this like pretty bad place.
Yeah. What are you telling them? Like, oh, I'm living with my friend Arthur looking for a job?
No. I'm just like, fuck you. Like I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. But also like maybe not, because I remember my mom would like buy me cigarettes, you know? So like she would like buy me a pack of Newports and like meet up with me to make sure I was okay. So maybe she did know.
You were probably just saying I'm at my friend's house.
Yeah, like I'm just staying here. Like I'm not, you said I couldn't live with you. So
Right,
like I'm not homeless, like whatever. Like
Yeah.
I'm fine, mom. But like, can you get me a pack of cigarettes like every day, please? You know, and like give me $20 so I can eat food,
Right.
you know? And pretty
Is
much.
anybody suggesting you get a job?
No.
How is no one telling you? Your mom isn't like, dude, get a job. No one tells you to get a job?
No. And there was no like thought of that at all.
Do you have a GED? Did you graduate?
No.
Okay.
No. Nothing. I'm just
I can't believe that school let you leave without a GED. Were you supposed to be going to class when you were at that therapeutic camp place?
Yeah, and I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. I did whatever I wanted.
Okay.
That was like, that's my thing. It's like,
Okay.
I'm just
And
gonna
then you checked out before you would have finished. Like maybe if you'd been there long enough, you would have acquired enough credits, but you left first.
If I would have attended classes while I was there, I probably would have gotten
Had the credits to
an
get the
equivalent
equivalent.
of
Yeah.
whatever. But because I didn't ever go to
Okay.
school, like, yeah,
Did you want to be anything when you were in high school?
no.
Okay.
I just wanted to skateboard and do drugs. Yeah. I wanted to be a drug addict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Wasn't
is
aspiring to anything.
And I think the reason it's funny to me is because I know how intelligent you are.
Thank you.
And you're so well spoken. And so to know that at that time you just had no aspirations.
So yeah, I remember having jobs like before I got sent away and then having jobs after. But when I was living at Arthur's at like the trap house, whatever you want. It wasn't really a trap house, but like it was a trap house, right? When I was living there, like absolutely not working. There's no way. Like I'm just staying there. So my mom noticed that like I was not in a safe place. So she was like, okay, you can come home and live with me, right? Because she didn't want me living there. Yeah. So then I went home and that's when like it was like, get a job, right? So I started working at this dairy barn. This is a funny story too.
But do you have to kick when you move home? Because you're strung out.
No, I'm still using.
You just, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still using. I'm just
you bring
allowed
stuff
to
with
live.
you,
Yeah. I'm just.
Or you meet up with people or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just allowed to live. And that's when the getting a job kicks in because now I have to like, I don't live there, but I'm still hanging out there all the time. You know, but I'm just allowed to like sleep at my mom's house in my childhood bedroom.
Right.
So then it upgrades to like, I'm kind of working, but not really. Like I remember working for this place, Dairy Barn. It's like a Long Island staple. It's like a drive-through, like you get bread and cigarettes and milk, right? And I was working there and I got fired for nodding out at the cash register. And then I got rehired by the morning manager. So I got fired by the night manager when I was younger. And then I got rehired later by the morning manager because he was like, hey, this is a good kid. Let's give him a chance. Yeah. And they had a bet going of like whether I would like get fired or whatever again, right? And I actually thankfully did good enough where I didn't get fired. And I got a job working at a skate park.
Oh, cool.
So I then... like just left on good terms, like put my 2 weeks in, right? This very prestigious dairy barn, you know, like but my 2 weeks in, like I'm doing good.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Like I'm still strung out and I'm
Right.
not doing great.
Right.
And so another thing, okay, so this is what happens too, is like when I moved back to my mom's house, living at mom's house, I realized that like one, I cannot afford a heroin habit. And two, I don't want to start doing illegal shit because I don't want to go to the adult version of what the fuck I was just in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I get on methadone. My mom helps me get on methadone. And so that's where that started, right? So then I don't have to worry about like the opiate stuff anymore. I'm just doing whatever drugs I can handle getting on, because at that point it was like heroin was great, but it was like too much to keep up with to be able to like sustain it. And it also got to that point where it's like I'm just getting well anyway. So I'm like, this is dumb. Like I'm over it.
Was the methadone clinic like out here? You have to be there between like 7 and 9 in the morning and blah, blah, blah. The whole 9. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to the methadone clinic. I tell them that I was doing like 3 bundles a day when I really wasn't. So they give me a way higher dose, right? So I'm getting high from the methadone, which is great. So I'm getting free heroin from the government.
Right.
Which like harm reduction, it works,
Yes,
right?
it
like,
absolutely.
For me, it worked.
Well, and what you just said is important. You didn't want to start doing anything illegal. And so because of the methadone clinic, you didn't have to.
I didn't have to.
Potentially, maybe you would have. And this is a completely different story, you know? So, yeah.
So I get on methadone, and then I remember being on methadone long enough to where I was getting take homes, but like still, then there was that gradual step down of like I don't like, it sucks to go there all the time, right? And so then there was this new drug that just came over from Europe called Suboxone, and you can get a script for 30 days. And so I was like one of the first people to be on Suboxone.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did they transition you? Because didn't you have to kick the methadone before you took your first strip for 3 days?
So this is what's crazy is like working in treatment and knowing this, I don't remember that.
Wow.
I don't remember that.
They had you guys do that because no one does. And I think what they did is you just were told to maybe take another one because you should have got really fucking sick.
Yeah,
right?
Like you should go into pre-sit.
Yes. But I've asked many people this, and everyone is like, man, I don't remember. Did I get sick? I must have. But if nobody is remembering,
you know what,
you
it
must
might
have been
been
able to transition with just a bunch of strips. Because, you know, if you get sick and you do more methadone, you'll get better. I don't know. Maybe there was a gradual.
Maybe it wasn't Suboxone and it was like Subutex where there was no naltrexone in it. It was just the buprenorphine.
Okay.
Maybe.
Subutex, you still have to wait a little bit though, in my experience. Yes.
Yeah, but I don't remember like having to kick. So, but also like I'd kicked so many, like, you know, like you've been sick so many times, like, but I don't have a memory of that. So, you know.
Okay. So at some point you get on Subutex.
Yeah, or Suboxone.
Or Suboxone, whichever one it was.
I'm pretty sure it was Suboxone. And at the time, it was like the little stop signs, like the orange stop sign pills that you let.
So it was Suboxone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was on Suboxone, and then I was on that for like 5 years, dude. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what happened from that point is I started selling cocaine and smoking crack and doing cocaine every day, like a lot of it.
Okay.
And I remember it would like be like one of those weird scenarios where I'd like be in my bedroom, like up all night and like trying to hide it from my mom. And it would be like under my bed, and I would like pee into Snapple bottles so I wouldn't have to like walk over to the bathroom. And you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, and I'd have like all these Snapple bottles of piss like hidden under my bed, and I'd have to like drain them out the next day. Yeah. Super fun times.
So
dude.
gross. I would do that too. Sometimes mine would just be paranoia though. I wouldn't want to walk out into the hallway for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah.
So you're smoking crack, snorting cocaine, and doing Suboxone.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And still smoking weed too.
Okay. Okay.
And like whatever else, you know, like anything that comes along.
Yeah. Okay.
But like now that I'm like on the Suboxone, I'm like good as far as like my heroinism, right? But that's not good enough. So like I need to have some uppers. So I start selling cocaine, not like heavily, like, but like to my friends to where I would be able to support my habit. And that worked until it didn't. But what happened is that I did it for so long that I was so unhealthy. I was like 6'4", 112 pounds. Yeah, it was bad. I think my lowest weight was like 113 or 117, maybe. I exaggerated with the 112.
Right, yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, I was definitely dying, like for sure.
And are you working at the skate park this whole time?
No. So this, like, I lost the skate park job and now I'm just like home selling cocaine and like that's how I'm supporting my habit and I'm on Suboxone. And so I'm getting to this point where like I think my mom knows like my son's gonna die. And we tried this other place and it didn't work. And like I don't know what to do with him. So I have an uncle that lives out here in San Diego. He moved out here and he is familiar with our lifestyle. Like wasn't a heroin addict, but like did drugs, like did prison time, like the whole thing, and like is good now. So she's kept being like, "Why don't you go live with your uncle? Why don't you go?" And I would be like, "Yeah, sure, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, okay, like shut up, you know." And finally, one day, I was like, "Okay," and I was talking to my uncle, and he's like, "Come live with me in San Diego," and I was just to shut him up, like after talking to him like so much and saying no, I was just like, "Okay, dude, like yeah, I'll go, like whatever." And then my mom had a plane ticket booked like the next week and was like, "You're going."
Wow.
And I was like, fuck it. All right. Like, you know, I
Yeah.
kind of hated my life there anyway. So
Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
like, maybe this is what I need. Like, fuck it, you know?
And how long ago was this?
This was, I want to say I was 20,
Okay.
you know?
Oh, so you've been
I,
out here a long time.
no.
Oh, okay.
So I had maybe a 2-year run of like heroin, crack, right? And then methadone and cocaine and blah, 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 right? So then I'm 20 and I move out here. This crazy thing happened with the weed where every time I would smoke weed, it would be like a bad acid trip where it went from like I would smoke like all day, every day and be totally fine. And it was like smoking a cigarette and to like if I take a hit of weed, I'm like in psychosis.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So that happened. I've read about it and it says that that happens to people that have like severe, heavy THC use for long periods of time. Like it'll eventually
That can happen.
flip the script and will stop working. And you'll have like, you know, bad trips because it is in the hallucinogenic classification of substances. So yeah, so that happened. And I moved to San Diego. When I moved here, I brought cocaine with me on the airplane and I brought it in. I had like one last bag, right? I put it in my pocket and went through security with it because I'm like, I've been on planes before. Like they don't check your pockets when you walk through.
Right. This was
thing.
before they did the thing, the body scan.
Maybe they did do the body scan and they just didn't catch me with it. I don't remember. I just remember like I had it and I got through.
Right.
And so I'm like doing the last of my cocaine like in the airplane bathroom, right? And I made it to California. And then my grandmother came with me too. So we were living out here. My uncle like lets me work for his company, but not like doing hull cleaning, like just doing bullshit, like whatever office work that
his company is cleaning boats.
He has a yacht maintenance company. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like topside, it's like hull underwater hull cleaning, it's mechanics, it's like all that stuff. Okay. And he's really cool. Like he hires like felons and like people in recovery. Like he helps people out. He's helped a lot of people out. So he just gives me random like bullshit jobs. I'm doing this one job that I did was he got a contract with the golf courses and we had this guy that would dive in the ponds and like get all the golf balls out. Oh. And then I would take them and like dip them in acetone and clean them and sort them from like really nice brand new ones to like really shitty ones.
Yeah.
And then we would sell them on eBay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was doing that and he was paying me like whatever, you know, it was like I was just doing whatever, like living in an apartment with my grandma, but like I wasn't doing drugs anymore.
Well, you were still in Suboxone.
I was still on Suboxone, but I stopped doing cocaine. I stopped smoking pot. Like I was trying to be sober my way.
Right.
Right. Like no 12-step. I don't remember any 12-step stuff from those treatment centers, but I'm sure. No, I do. Some of the places definitely had like the posters on the wall, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't remember them like really pushing it on us. But yeah, so like none of that. Just doing it my way, right? Like, so yeah, so I was only taking Suboxone and then it was my 21st birthday. And I met a bunch of kids that had moved out here from Long Island, but they were my sister's friends. So this was another God shot. I am talking to one of my childhood best friends, and he's like, dude, you moved to San Diego? Like, my older brother, Adam, lives there. And so I call Adam, and Adam's like, where are you? And I'm like, I live in Point Loma. And he's like, dude, so do I. And I'm like, he's like, where do you live? And I'm like, blah, blah, blah street, right? And he's like, dude, I live around the corner from you. Like, walk to the corner right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so this gave me connection of like a friend that was familiar.
Totally.
So I started hanging out with those guys, which was good, but like I still had that like inferiority complex because they were my sister's friends. They weren't like and they like had jobs and careers and like had gotten back from college. And like, I'm this like kid that's like still not looking good because like I'm on Suboxone. So I'm still like gray and just like not, So my 21st birthday comes and they're like, you have to drink. And I was like, no, I don't. I hate drinking. I don't want to drink because of that first experience at Hawley's. Right. And they're like, listen, man, like we're going to make you something fruity. Like we're going to like whatever. It's going to be great. Don't worry about it. So they got a bottle of like Belvedere vodka. So it's like top shelf. Right. And they got some kind of like fruit punch shit. And they made me mixed drinks and I got hammered and was totally fine. So the problem is that like I just didn't like beer when I tried drinking when I was younger. Right. So like liquor, different story. Yeah. So now this starts my drinking career. So I'm living out here. I start drinking. It doesn't get super bad. I'm working for my uncle. I'm still on Suboxone. And then I'm like not really connecting with these friends that I'm having. Like it seems like it's like charity for them to hang out with me, Or at
do you think that was real, or do you think that's just how you felt at the time?
It might have been in my head, but also real too, because I was also like very needy and like also like, let's hang out. Like, what are you doing? And they're like, I have a fucking job and like shit to do. Like,
Okay.
So I remember getting to this place eventually where in my head I was like, California sucks. Like everybody here is fake and like nice fake. Like it's not whatever. And I was like, I want to go back home. So I moved back to New York and I'm like, I'm good now. Like I stopped doing drugs. Like I've been here for a couple years. I'm doing all right, whatever, right? Like I'm going back home. So I moved back to New York. I find an apartment with an old friend and I'm living there. And then I get a job at Target that's right down the block. And I'm like doing okay, drinking, managing my drinking.
Still on Suboxone?
Still on Suboxone. And working at Target. So that started my like working in retail career. So eventually like I get like a girlfriend, which is like things that I had but like didn't really have. And like my life starts to look better. Like I have a job, then I eventually get a car and a driver's license, which I never had. I didn't get my driver's license until I was like 25 years old. Yeah, because I just didn't care, So like my life starts to like seem like it's getting better. I get a job, I have a girlfriend. I'm like, whatever. I'm living at this apartment with this guy who sells weed. That's what his gig is. Like sells like lots of pot. And I'm in this apartment with him and all of a sudden we start getting robbed and the apartment starts getting broken into. So then he goes out then he has people not come to the house anymore. And he has people going. Like he's going to make deliveries now because like the house is hot, the apartment's hot. So like I'm going to go make deliveries. As he was walking out of the apartment, a kid pops out of the bush with a gun and is like, give me your shit. Right. So he moves literally the next day. Okay. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm moving somewhere else. And I'm like, fuck, like, what do I do? So the woman that lived upstairs was like actually really sweet and nice. And she was like, listen, like, I know that you weren't a part of like what he was doing. I know you're a good kid. Just pay me what you were paying him for that room that you're renting. And like, you can stay here. So I was like, awesome. Right. So then though, they see that his car's gone. So I'm taking a nap in my boxers and I wake up to go pee. And as I'm turning the corner to go to my bathroom, this young teenage boy sticks his head out of my bathroom, puts a gun to my face, and is like, let my friends in the fucking apartment. And I'm like, whoa, like, okay. So I unlock the front door.
You're in the ladies' apartment, or this is before you've moved into hers?
No, I'm still in the down. So
You're in
we
the old
lived in
one
the
still.
basement.
Okay.
And she lived
okay,
upstairs in the
okay,
house.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So she
okay.
was like, okay,
You can still stay
you
there.
can stay.
Got it. Okay.
Because I wouldn't have been able to afford the whole apartment. But she was like, you can stay. Just give me what you were paying him.
Okay.
And so I'm in this empty 3-bedroom basement apartment.
Right.
And I walk out, and this young little kid like points a gun in my face and is like, open the door. And I'm like, okay. So I open the door and his 2 friends come in, and they're like 16-year-old little kids, right? And I'm like 25, 24, whatever, right? And they're like, get on the ground. We're going to fuck you up, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like, right? And I kind of had some awareness from like all of the life that I lived, right? And so when they said they were going to fuck me up and they didn't, and I just listened and I got on the ground, I knew like, okay, like I'm just going to like whatever, right? Like as long as I play along, like I'll be fine. So I wasn't really scared, but it was a weird thing, right? So I told them, I was like, dude, like the dude that you're looking for is gone. Like the apartment is completely empty. Like look around. Like it's just me here. Right. And they were like, shut the fuck up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, look in the apartment. Like, so they look around, they see that it's empty. And I'm like, anything that's in here is in my room. So they make me crawl to my bedroom on my hands and knees with the gun to the back of my head.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then one of them grabs a knife out of the kitchen drawer. Then they go into my room. Mind you, I had this sneaker collection, right? Of like a bunch of shoes. And they're like going through my room, like looking for jewelry or like pounds of weed, and they don't find anything. Right. But I had like a pretty extensive sneaker collection that they could have sold for like a good amount of money, but they just didn't know.
Wow.
So they went through all my shit, but here's another God shot, right? For like the maybe like 5% of the time that the gun was not to my head while they were searching the room, it goes off into the carpet. Yep. They like whoever was holding it, like what they were doing, accidentally. It looked like it was like an old school like shitty revolver that they like stole from their dad or like whatever, right? Like it was a shitty neighborhood in like on Long Island, right? Yeah. So the gun goes off in the carpet.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And this is the first time that I had ever been around a gun that was shot.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know what it was. I just smelt the gunpowder and thought like a firework went off or something. I was so like,
even though you heard it,
even though I heard it, and like I just was so like what the fuck? And then I realized the gun went off.
Oh my
and I was like, what are you guys doing?
Oh my God.
I'm like, what is wrong with you guys? Like what? You know what I mean? Like, and they're like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, okay, right? So it's crazy. When you've been through so much trauma and you're in situations like that, like there was a part of me that like too like wanted to die anyway. So it's just like, I don't care, dude. Like, and I like was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, what is wrong with you? Like you let the gun go off. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the gun goes off. They start fighting with each other. Like, how could you let the blah, 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 right? So then they realize I don't have anything in my room. They take like whatever money I had in my wallet. They take like an iPad, like it wasn't even iPads back then. It was like the little mini ones that you like, the MP3 player.
The music,
like
the iPod. The iPod, yeah. Yeah.
They took that and they took my chocolate cell phone.
Okay.
You know, like the flip matrix, you know? They took my phone and then they put me in the shower and they were like, stay here, don't move. And I was like, okay, like go do your thing. And then they went upstairs and they raided the upstairs of the house. And so I waited in the shower until I didn't hear footsteps anymore. And then I obviously waited a little bit longer. And then I went upstairs. And first I called my sister and I was like, hey, this just happened. Like, I don't know what to do. Because by this time, me and her were cool, right? So I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to call mom. Like, this is what just happened. Like, I'm freaking out. What do I do? She's like, you need to call the police. And I'm like, okay. So then I call the kid that lived upstairs. So this woman that was renting the apartment to us had a son, and the son was like a little like ghetto kid, right? And whatever, like he was a little hood rat kid, right? Love him. Great. I hope he's doing great. So yeah, so I called him to be like, hey, I'm about to call the cops. Like if you have anything in your room that you want me to hide, like let me know. And he's like, oh yeah, just like my scale, like throw it in, like in the hamper or whatever. So like I did. And then I called the police. They come, they search my apartment. I tell them what happened. They search the upstairs, and then they look and they put me in the back of the cop car. So I'm like, what the fuck? Right? And I'm in the back of the cop car, like for what seems like a million years. Right? And then they take me to the precinct and they start interrogating me because they thought I was the roommate that was the guy that was selling pot, because they were already watching him as well, because he was selling like pounds, you know, it wasn't just like little shit, like he was selling a lot. And back then, I don't know what it was like here, because I know California is like different, but like weed was a big deal. Like if you got caught with weed, like
big deal.
Yeah,
for
big
sure.
Deal.
Yeah.
So they thought I was him, and they were interrogating me and trying to get me to like fess up to like being the guy that was selling drugs. And I remember being interrogated enough to the point where I just said to the cop, I was like, I just had a fucking gun in my fucking face. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, what is wrong with you? And once I did that, I think they got the gist of it. And they were like, okay, this isn't the guy. Right. So then they let me go. And I went with my sister, and she took me back to the apartment. And then the kids that were robbing the apartment knew, like, okay, the drug dealer's gone. So then that stopped. Okay. And I lived there for a while. And then my Long Island story, just to make a long story short, is like I worked in retail, I was drinking, and I was on a strict no opiate cocaine diet, because I know if I start doing cocaine, I'm going to start smoking crack. Right. And if I do opiates, I'm going to start doing heroin. And I also finally got off the Suboxone. So I was in between jobs. Did you just do like a slow taper? I did a slow self taper. Okay. Right? Like where I would just take littler pieces every day. Okay. And then I stopped taking it. And I will tell you, this was the worst experience I've ever had kicking in my life. I was sick for a month, like deathly ill for a month. And I didn't sleep at all for the first week. And then I started going into psychosis because I wasn't sleeping. And then I was still viciously ill for a month. And then it was like 5 months after that of like severe depression and anxiety, of just like, I hated everything. Yeah. But I got off of it. You got off of it. And the second that I started feeling better again, it was like, oh my God, like I did it. Yes. Like I did it. Yeah. Like I did it. Mm-hmm. And at that moment on, I was like, I will never fucking do opiates ever again. Like never again. Yeah. So at this point, I'm drinking and, you know, strict no opiate, no cocaine diet, where I'm partying. I'm doing a lot of hallucinogens. I'm doing like ecstasy, and I'm drinking. Right. And then I join a band, and I'm in a band, and they're like kids that like. What do you play? I play the drums. Okay. What was the name of the band? Atlantic on the Rise. It was very like Yellow Card, like brand new, like that kind of like music, right? Typical like that era, Long Island. Like, yeah. So fun. But yeah, so I'm in a band, and I'm partying with the kids that are drinking, where like they'll wake up and drink. Right. And so my alcoholism progresses and gets worse. And then I also started hanging out with my dad, because he divorced, or he didn't divorce. He got his like 4th DWI and got arrested and had to go to jail because it was his 4th one. And they were like, hey, so you can go to jail for like 30 days and then be on probation for 5 years, or you can go to jail for a year and not be on probation. And my dad was such a G that he was like, give me the year. No way. Yeah. He was like, I'm not doing that probation shit. Like, fuck that. Just let me be in jail for a year. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah. Okay. So while he's in jail, she leaves. So he ends up single is the end of that. Yes. She changes the locks on the house. So my dad was such a G, right? Like went through 2 divorces and like still managed to like get back on his feet
Right.
and make money
Right.
while being a full-blown alcoholic.
Right.
Like functioning alcoholic.
Right.
Like he was a union construction worker, right? And so he always had work, always was able to make money. Like
Yeah.
he got out of jail with absolutely nothing. No money, no nothing, zero. He got a hotel room and he stayed in a hotel room and then eventually got like credit cards because he had good credit, and then like eventually went back to work and was good. Like, and was fine.
That's insane.
Found an apartment where he rented a room out, but then we became like best buddies. And so this was another progression of my alcoholism where he really showed me how to drink like a true alcoholic. Like wake up in the morning with like, you know, a cup like this with ice and fill it with like that much Seagram 7 and then like a splash of 7-Up or like ginger ale. And like that's how you wake up, right? So we were hanging out and we were like best friends, and it was cool because like I never really got to have that relationship with my dad. So I don't regret it. And it was really nice. So we became friends. We started hanging out. We would take like trips to Puerto Rico together where he like lived and surfed when he graduated high school. He went to Rincon, Puerto Rico and just like surfed for a winter. So we would go there every year. And the last year that we went together, it was bad. Like the drinking was gnarly. Like we were drinking the entire time we were there for the whole week, like just partying like hard. And we got back home and I was so fucked up from that trip. Like it took me a week before like I was normal of just being viciously sick and not being able to drink. And so I went through that, and then I called him and I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like, nothing. Like, I'm like, let's hang out because I'm starting to feel better now. So I'm like, let's chill and get some drinks and chill. Like, let's have fun. And he's like, nah, kid, like, I'm not doing good. Like, you know, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you know, you're not doing good. Like, we hang out all the time. Like, what's up? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay. So then I call him back and I'm like, Dad, what's wrong? And he's like, you know, I'm not feeling too good, but like, I know if you come over here that you're going to tell me I need to go to the hospital. And like, I'm not going to the fucking hospital. And I was like, Dad, I'm coming over. Right. And so I went to my dad's apartment and he was like a fucking balloon and he was yellow, like super jaundice. Right. So the whole time that I was like healing from this and like not drinking, he was still drinking, because when I got into his apartment, I looked where the garbage is and there was like 7 empty 1.75 liter bottles of Seagram 7 sitting there. So like he was just still going hard. And at this time he had retired from work. So like he's not working. His job is now just going to the bar. Right. So he's jaundiced. I pour him a drink and myself a drink because I told him on the phone, I was like, Dad, I promise I'm not going to tell you to go to the hospital. Like I'm coming over. And I was like, so I pour us both a drink and I'm like, listen, Dad, like you need to go to the hospital. Like I know I promised you I wouldn't, but like you need to go, dude. And so he's like, all right, kid, like let's go, you know? And so I take him and he's in there for a couple of weeks. He's like the banana bags, you know, they're doing the thing. And then he's starting to be better. And I'm like visiting him as much as I can. And it seems like he's getting better. And then we get a call from the hospital. And they're like, something happened where a part of his intestine or something ripped. And they need to do an emergency surgery on him. So we go in, me and my sister, we go in. And they're like, okay, so we have to do the surgery, but it could kill him. And we're like, okay, well, like, is there any other options? And they're like, no. And we're like, okay, so do it. Like, I'm his power of attorney at this point, too, because there was nobody left. Like, I was the only person that fucked with him. Everybody else was just like hopeless alcoholic, and his bar buddies, too, of course. And so we say to do the surgery. They do the surgery. It works. And then he's okay. And we're like, awesome. Like, it's worked. And then it reopens. And they're like, okay, we got to do it again. But now this could really kill him. But again, like, Hail Mary, like, is there any other option? And they're like, no. And we're like, okay, so like, why are you asking us to do it, right? They have to get our permission, right? So they do the second surgery. That one works too. But because of the medication that he was on, and while he was like out and on a ventilator or whatever he was on, the rest of his organs just started failing. And so he passed away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we had to pull like, we asked, like, you know, is there any chance of him getting out of this? And they were like, because of the medication he's on, which is keeping his heart beating, the blood's only going to his heart. It's not going to the rest of his organs. So like, even if he does come back by some miracle, like, he's going to be a vegetable because he hasn't had blood in his brain in a while. Right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we're like, all right, like, I was like, okay, like, pull the plug, you know? And so that was really rough for me. That was hard. And I still started drinking heavier. I made the decision to move back here again and start underwater hole cleaning for my uncle. And now I was actually like not just working in the office doing dumb shit like the last time. I was actually like diving boats.
That sounds terrifying to me. So you scuba dive under the boat?
Yeah.
You know, there's a phobia of like boats that go underwater. People are afraid of that spot, like right there.
Yeah. So I like lived in that spot.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, because I have that. Like
Really?
that, yes. Big time, big time, big time.
I'll like take you under a boat.
No.
And you'll be fine.
Absolutely. No.
Okay.
What if we get eaten by a shark?
You won't.
You don't know that.
Okay.
I know water guys hate here. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
if you're
I don't
ocean,
hate it.
hate hearing the shark thing.
Yeah.
But like, it's fucking terrifying to me.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to me. Did you already know how to scuba dive?
No.
So you come out here, you learn how to scuba dive. How long are you under the boat?
If it's a really big boat, like 4 hours.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just
so the tanks,
cleaning like this?
Yeah. So the tanks will last 2 hours.
Big boats?
Yeah. The biggest boat that I would do was a 98-foot Broward.
Okay.
And the scary part for me when I started was the seals and the sea lions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they come up to you while you're under there?
Sometimes, yeah.
See what you're doing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And they just check you out. So this is so when I first started hull cleaning, right, I was like, I saw the seals and the sea lions, and I asked another guy, like, hey, like, what's up? Like, are they dangerous? Like, should I watch out for them? Like, do you have any tips or pointers, you know? And the guy was like, oh, no, they're totally fine. And he goes, the only thing that happens is like when it's mating season, sometimes the bulls will like grab you by the back of the neck and try and fuck you, but then they realize that you're not a seal, and then they swim away. And he was like, don't worry, they won't break through the wetsuit.
Oh my gosh.
So like, you'll be fine.
Oh my gosh.
And I fucking believed him.
Oh, I believed you just now.
Good. So it makes me feel better about it.
I believed you just now.
So then I repeat that to another guy, and the other guy just starts hysterically laughing.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you really fucking believe that, dude?
Okay, I believed you right now.
Yeah. So good. Thank you.
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they don't do anything.
So I know that you end up on fentanyl while you're out here, though.
Yep.
Okay. So you're cleaning boats. How do you end up on fentanyl out here after you made the decision to never do opiates again?
Okay. So I have my own apartment. I'm in Point Loma. I'm scraping barnacles while drinking. I'm hanging out with like bar people, you know, like bartenders, bar backs, like that whole crew, right? So I'm like hanging out with people that are like drinking and like doing fucking key bumps and shit. And then I break my no cocaine rule and I start doing cocaine again. So then I'm like, start really doing cocaine. And then when I'm not with those friends, I have an extra bag that I cook myself into crack and smoke when I get back to my apartment. Okay. Then it got really bad where I went to a detox one time. I went to like Mesa Vista because I was like not okay. And then I was hallucinating. Like, it was that bad, like alcohol withdrawals, where like I was seeing things that weren't there. I was hearing things that were not there. And then I'd get better and I'd start drinking again. Right. And then it got to a point where my drinking got so bad that, you know, I would drink for that relief of like, you know, I was always like a really anxious kid. I always felt like really super uncomfortable in my skin. I always felt like there was something wrong with me, like those old bullshit narratives we were talking about before. And it just felt really uncomfortable to be me without any substances in me. And I didn't know how to do that. And I didn't think I could do that. Like I couldn't go 5 minutes without something, right? Like, or without freaking out. So what happened is I would drink and then the drinking would make me feel better, right? And I would get that like, oh, like I can breathe, cool. But then what happened is that it started having the opposite effect where I would drink and I would get worse anxiety and I would get worse depression and I would still continue to drink, hoping like this next sip or drink is going to fix it, and it wouldn't. And so I'm in my apartment. I start to get psychosis from alcohol because this is what the doctors told me in the detox. They said you were drinking so much alcohol that your liver was unable to produce the amount of alcohol you were drinking. So pure alcohol was going into your blood system, which was then going into your brain, which then made you delirious, right? So I took a dull kitchen knife out of my kitchen drawer and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. Like I'm so uncomfortable living in my skin. Like it's just, that's it. I'm done. I give up. And I like pressed it against my arm long ways and it was dull. So it like, I had to press really hard to get it through and it made like a pop noise and my arm split open. And then I was like, whoa, that was gnarly. And then I just stabbed myself a bunch of times, like on my legs and my arms. And I got in the shower and like tried to bleed out. And then I would like stop bleeding and I would take a pocket knife and I would like reopen everything. Yeah. And I was like, I thought it was going to be like this fairy tale. Like, isn't it so fucked up how we could like laugh about this shit?
You think you're just going to like
we're talking about
gently go into the night, but you're absolutely not.
I was just going to like Snow White, just like slit and just like, it's like happy, you know? No, like I bled like reopening my wounds for like 3 hours in the shower.
No.
Like, what the fuck is going on? Right? Like, yeah. So another God shot, right? I hadn't looked at my phone in days because I was so anxious and just so miserable. So now I'm like, okay, I'm not dying. I don't have enough energy to like keep stabbing myself because I've lost that much blood, but I'm also not dying and I'm not bleeding anymore. So I look at my phone and my next door neighbor, who was a good friend of mine, texted me and was like, hey man, like, are you okay? I haven't seen you in like a week. Like, are we still friends? And I was like, no, I need your help. And he came over and he knew we had like one of those locks with the key code with the key in it. So like he knew the code and I was like, I need you to come over. So he comes over to me just like naked in the bathtub, like just diced up. And he's like, whoa, what the fuck, right? And I'm like, sorry, like naked, like my dick's out. Like, just like, sorry, dude, like I really need help, you know? So he calls 911 and they come and then I get sent back to Mesa Vista to the psych ward and for a 5150 and then also detox. Okay. So while I'm in the hospital, they were like, hey, like, do you want Vicodins? And I was like, yes. I swore I'd never do opiates, but I was like, dude, I just tried to kill myself. Like, what the fuck? Who cares? Right? Mm-hmm. So I start taking Vicodins and I'm like, ooh, this feels great. I miss this. But when I get home from the hospital, I immediately stop taking them because I know, like, all right, I don't want to kick. So, like, you had fun, Bryan. Like, good job. And I kicked, and I was like, that was fine. Yeah. Like, that was nothing. Yeah. And I had a roommate at the time that was going to Mexico and was buying 80 milligram Oxycontins. My favorite. They were the OPs, but like, still, I liked Oxycontins more than I liked heroin. But I will do anything, any opiate, if you know. Yeah. But so I realized here, like, you know, in New York, we don't have that option, right? Yeah. But here, like, you just go, like,
go to Mexico.
You just go to Mexico and you walk into a pharmacy and just buy like cheap 80 milligram OPs and you're good. Yeah. So I was doing that and I started doing that and I am getting to the point where I'm like still working and I'm doing good, but I'm now on Oxycontin and I'm doing cocaine and smoking crack. But I'm not drinking anymore. Right. Dude, I remember going to the Ocean Beach Alano Club and taking a 1-year token.
Oh, for not drinking?
Because I hadn't drank in a year. And I didn't know the program.
Right.
I didn't know that it was a program of complete abstinence.
Right.
I just thought, hey, I hadn't drank in a year and I'm at this specific 12-step meeting for
Right.
alcohol,
Right.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I took a 1-year toke. I was like so proud of myself, but the whole time I'm doing Oxycontin and smoking crack, right? Like just so funny. This shit, like the delusions. Good times. So yeah, I'm doing that, right? And then I meet this girl. I meet this Italian woman, and she has no clue that I do drugs, right? And I'm like hanging out with her. We start dating. Then I start hanging out with more dangerous people. And now I'm hanging out with people that like are the type of people that like carry guns around with them at all times, right? And I'm like doing that kind of stuff because I'm doing the amount of cocaine and I'm cooking my own crack because I can't find crack out here. I just have to make my own, to where I'm like now selling cocaine again and I'm doing that whole rigmarole, right? But I'm not drinking, right? So like I'm good. And I would do this thing with the OPs where I would get to the point where I was just getting well and not getting high, and then I would just kick. And then I'd get my tolerance back, and then I would start using them again. And then I'd do that. I did that a couple times. And while I was dating this woman, she was Italian, like from Italy, right? And she definitely saved my life. So she has no idea that I'm using until she finds out, right? So eventually I get to the point where I am getting pills for one of my friends, and I'm calling this drug dealer, and I don't want the pills that he's like getting. So I'm like, hey, do you have any heroin? And I hadn't tried tar because you guys do tar out here, right? So I'd never done tar. So I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to try this tar shit, right? So I ask him like, hey, do you have any heroin? And he's like, yeah. And this is right when the fentanyl had started coming around. So I'm like, it doesn't have any of that fucking fentanyl shit in it though, right? And he's like, no, you're good. It's just tar. And I'm like, okay. So me and my roommate are smoking it, and we put like 3 globs on the foil, and I accidentally hit both of the globs with the lighter and got too big of a hit and fucking went out.
Oh my god.
And I OD'd. And there was no Narcan. And so my one friend calls my other friend and is like, hey, Bryan overdosed. And the reason why we can't call the cops is because the other friend has his gun that is not legal in my apartment. And so I have to wait for this friend to drive from Mount Helix to Point Loma. So at this time, my girlfriend at the time calls me. My roommate accidentally picks up the phone, hangs it up. She comes to the apartment to see me blue, death gasping on the floor.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So then she's freaking out with my roommate. They wait for this other friend to get to the apartment. The other friend gets to the apartment. So I'm out for like 40 minutes. I don't know how I'm not brain dead.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So the other friend gets there. They both leave to go to the pharmacy to get Narcan. Then they come back and then they Narcan me.
Oh my god.
And they throw me in the shower, and I come back and I come to with my girlfriend in my bed, like hysterically crying, and the really close friend being like, you're welcome, fucker. Like, I saved your life. Not like leaving the apartment. Like, I just heard him saying that and slamming the door. I didn't even see him.
Oh my gosh.
Right? I have a video in my phone of it too. Because while they were getting the Narcan, he like filmed me overdosing so that he could send it to me and be like, see, I fucking saved your life. And like use that as kind of like a manipulation tactic or whatever, right? So I'm hanging out with bad people, right? It's getting real bad. And this girl is like, hey, I have this van and I've been planning this trip to drive around the United States and go to all the national parks. You should come with me. And so I'm like, you know what? Okay. I'm getting money from my dad's pension at the time, and it's COVID. So we're getting money from that too, right? So I'm just like, okay. So I keep my apartment. My roommate still lives in it. And I just get in a van with this girl. I sober up, and we do this like 8-month trip around the United States, going to every single national park that we can. And it was like the most incredible thing. But the obsession of my disease, I am in paradise every day like living the most incredible life, seeing the most incredible things.
Thinking about using.
The second I hit the pillow every night, it's just like heroin, crack, heroin, crack, heroin, crack. Yeah. Yeah. And so we did that 8-month trip. I stayed sober for that whole time. The second I got back to Point Loma, I got loaded. Right. And then we leave and we go to Italy and we go there for 3 months. And I'm like exploring all of Italy, and I like go to Barcelona and I'm like doing all this cool, like insane shit. Right. Same thing. Like they're doing cocaine. At this point, I also like started drinking wine here and there, like taking sips of wine because she drank wine. Yeah. So I drank a little bit while we were there, but then when we were in Barcelona, I drank like maybe like 4 cocktails in a night, and I was so hungover the next morning. So like I didn't even get nearly as drunk as I wanted to, and I so hungover the next day where I was like, alcohol is so dumb. Like this is why I'm a heroin addict and I like smoking crack, right? Even though like you withdrawal so much harder off heroin, still like I was just like,
still to this day agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So much better.
It's way better.
Way better. So I tried drinking again, but like was like, this is ridiculous. But then again, like I was in Italy for 3 months until my visa ran out. So like I'm doing all this incredibly amazing stuff that like most people never get the chance to do. And I'm like, it's still just the obsession. I'm just like not even appreciating it. You know, and then the second I get home, I use. So then 3 strikes, you're out. She finds a horse rescue ranch in King City, which is like an hour inland of Monterey, California, up north. And it's this horse rescue ranch that you get, it's like woofing. You ever hear that? Where like, okay, so like you live on this ranch and you work for them, and in exchange for the work, they give you a free place to live and they feed you. And that's it, right? So we just went to do that. And then we were going to move to like Florida or something like that to get me away from California, because that's the problem, right? But I already knew from moving, like I bring myself with me wherever I go. So when I'm at the horse rescue ranch, I start doing kratom. Because I'm like, I can't deal with being sober. Like, you don't get it. Like, I can't exist without substances. You don't understand me. And she's Italian, where she's like, her cultural competence is like, there's no such thing as addiction. Like, stop being a pussy. Like, there's no such thing as mental health. Like, man up, you know? And that's not to her fault. Like, that's just, that's their culture, right? And so we're at the horse rescue ranch. I'm doing kratom.
Powder or like drinks?
Powder. I'm just taking scoops of powder, throwing it in my mouth, and chugging water. Like, forget about sitting there and mixing it up into mud. Like, I'm just taking 8 scoops and just like, and then just, yeah. So I'm using that, and she hates me because I'm using, even though it's like this natural thing, right? She still is treating me like I'm smoking crack in the bathroom, pretending that I'm shitting. And I'm in there for 3 hours like I used to do to her, right? And then I'm so sorry. Sorry, Ellie. Yeah. So I get to this point where I'm like, she's treating me terribly, as she should, right? And I'm like, you don't understand me, like, typical addict behavior. And I leave. I get on a Greyhound bus and I leave, and I come back to Point Loma to my apartment. And then that's when I started using fentanyl and smoking crack, because now the M30s are coming around and my roommate's getting the M30s. So I'm sipping on M30s all day long off the foil, and I'm smoking crack, and I'm like kind of hole cleaning again, scraping boats, like kind of like doing side jobs, making a lot of money, like kind of like saying that I'm cleaning boats, but like not really cleaning them and getting paid for it. Like, just like all that, like just not good stuff.
Is this when you nod out under a boat?
So yeah, this is when I fall asleep underwater. So that story, I was up for 3 days straight. Or no, I think this happened before I did like the trips.
Okay.
Yeah, but whenever, like
regardless,
during whatever time, there was a time where I was up for 3 days smoking crack. I hadn't slept, and it was a Monday, and I knew that I had to do this one job that was a haul prep, which means I'm going to clean this guy's boat so that he can take it out of the water and fix it.
Okay.
So I have to do it. Like, I can't pretend that I did it.
Right.
And
they're going to see it. Yeah.
I haven't slept all weekend, and it's Monday, and I'm like, fuck, I have a little bit of cocaine that I haven't cooked into crack yet. And I get in my wetsuit and I go to the boat and I drive the boat to the job, which is in Coronado Cays. So I go from Point Loma to Coronado Cays and I clean this guy's boat and I'm underneath it. So like when you're hull cleaning and you're under a boat, your wetsuit makes you buoyant. So it makes you float to the top. So you're on. Like, no, you don't. Well, some people do, but I didn't. Okay. I didn't use weights. So you're buoyant and you're like Spider-Man under the boat. And you're sucked to the bottom of it. So you're cleaning it, right? And so I just like was cleaning this guy's boat and I fell asleep underwater, like with the hookah, like oxygen thing on. Oh my
gosh.
And so I wake up to the guy is like pounding on the boat from the top with his feet. And I woke up to that and I was like, oh my God, like I just fell asleep underwater.
How long were you under there asleep?
Under 2 hours because the tank lasts 2 hours.
But for a long time.
But long enough to where he was like, this guy should definitely be done cleaning my boat. Like, what the fuck is up?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I don't know how long, but like long enough.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Thank God you didn't run out of air.
So
I mean, that would have woken you up, obviously.
Yeah,
but
it
then,
would've.
you know.
Yeah, because this is
but
actually.
Then you're out of air. And then I guess you just scoop up or whatever. But like
Still, thank God I didn't run out of air.
Yes, that's insane.
Yeah.
Because what if you'd been super disoriented? Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, I didn't. So then these are more other God shots, right?
Yeah.
Multiple God shots throughout this story, right? Guy wakes me up. I get out of the water. He's like, are you done cleaning the boat? And I'm like, yep, you're good to go, buddy. Then I put my snorkel in and I take the oxygen hose off and I put it on the boat. And I'm scraping the oysters off of his dock because that was another part of a job that I was supposed to do was like scrape the oysters off his dock. So I'm using the 5-in-1 blade and I'm scraping oysters off his dock. And then I wake up floating in the middle of the canal. So who knows how long I was out for that.
So you fell asleep again?
I fell asleep again with a snorkel in my mouth, just like floating like a dead body. Like, and this is the Coronado Cays. Like these are like really nice houses on a canal. So like people might have seen me just like floating like a dead body, right? Like who knows how long I was asleep for. So then I wake up and I'm like, okay, fuck this. I'm going home. I get in the boat and I start driving the boat back to Point Loma. And I wake up a third time because I let go of the motor and the boat's doing circles.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah. So I get back. I finally make it back safely and I don't die out of the 3 times. And I don't get arrested either. I make it back to my apartment and I sleep for like, however long.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So getting to kind of now-ish.
Yeah.
So you come back from the horse ranch training.
Yeah.
You get back on, now you're doing fentanyl for sure.
Yep.
Smoking crack, odd jobs, bullshit. What gets you sober? What is your current sobriety date?
My sobriety date's 4/1/22. So
Okay.
I'll have 4 years like next week or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. So what does March 22 look like? What does March 28th look like?
So I get back from the horse rescue ranch and I'm like just feeling so defeated because I had been trying to be sober with this woman who cared about me, who was like an incredible woman. Like she's just like, like every guy's, like meet like a woman from another country.
Right.
Like, come on. Like really like awesome deal.
Yeah.
Right. And still like I'm like going to national parks and I'm like in like the best, like the most beautiful place in the world. I'm like visiting Italy. I'm like going over here and I just still like am fucking miserable. So I leave the horse rescue ranch and I took my sneaker collection that I had and I sold it to this guy in New York for like $4,000. I just sold my whole collection like a mass deal, like to just take the whole thing, give me $4,000. Here's like 40 pairs, right? And I smoked that $4,000 in probably a month. Yeah, between fentanyl and crack. And so what happened is that I finally hit that breaking point where I realized like no matter what I do, the drugs stop working. it is not a sustainable solution to the problem that I have within myself. It only works for a certain period of time. It works really great. It works really, really great, but it stops working, right? It stopped working with the alcohol. It stopped working with heroin. It stopped working with fentanyl. It stopped working with crack. Like anything I've done, with the exception of meth, I've tried meth like once or twice and I hated it because of the come down. Yeah. Like I preferred crack because it was less of a, like it wasn't like you don't sleep for 3 days while you're coming down and like hate your life. Yeah. You know,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I never really did that into the ground, but I pretty much had done every other drug into the ground, you know, and I finally had that realization, like, even if I want to do drugs, like they don't work eventually. So like, what am I doing? So that is when I said that we call it alcoholic prayer and just threw my hands up and was like, I fucking give up, man. I had tried my way, every which way I could possibly try it. And like, even like had some success where I like had my own apartment, had jobs, like had girlfriends, like I was doing all right, like ish, not really, I was terrible, you know, but yeah. And I just finally realized like, you know, the drugs. So I heard you ask Vegas that question, like, what was it that like made you stop? Right. And for me, like, I can answer that. It was like, I finally figured out and made the decision that like the drugs just don't fucking work, man. They stop working. They do work until they don't.
Until they don't.
And it's just like, it's not a solution to my problem.
So what did you do to stop? Did you go to detox? What did you do to stop?
So from that point, I detoxed myself in my apartment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to do the Suboxone thing again because of my past history with Suboxone. Yeah. So with this one.
So you cold turkey kicked in your house.
I cold turkey kicked in my apartment fentanyl.
Wow.
Yeah. And crack. Wow. Yeah.
How long were you sick?
For like a month. It was kind of similar to the Suboxone withdrawal. It wasn't as intense.
Yeah.
And I remember too, I was like, again, like doing kratom. And this is funny because like, so I'm like taking kratom to try and help me with the kick and the withdrawal. And I would take like 8 or 9 scoops of it.
It's not touching it.
By the 9th scoop, I would feel like, okay, a little bit of relief. Yeah. And then I'd take a 10th scoop and I would projectile vomit at all the kratom that I just like exorcism vomit all over my apartment. Right?
Dude.
Yeah, so good.
And then, during that time, you got on the wait list for a state place, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I got on Medi-Cal and like I had somebody that was helping me, or actually it was that girlfriend. Okay. I reached out to her and was like, I'm done. I'm ready. I need help. And she was like, okay. And so she helped me out and I got on, I think I was already on Medi-Cal or Medicaid from New York that I kept. Yeah. So I just stayed so I started investigating like rehab, which I never did before because I kind of had the trauma from those places I was in when I was younger. Yeah. So I started looking up rehabs. I went to a crisis center because I was getting kicked out of that apartment. And it was funny, like I should have got kicked out, but it wasn't even because I was like doing what I was doing. It was because they were renovating the entire complex and they kicked everybody out. So that they can raise the rent and make it like triple of what it was. It was one of those like old Point Loma apartment complexes. Okay. It was a 2-bedroom apartment that I was paying $1,400 a month for.
Wow. Yeah. That now is probably $3,000 or something.
$3,400.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I get kicked out. I go to. That was another thing too that helped with like I'm going to be homeless. Yeah. You know, like that too. Like I always had the safety in my apartment, but like now I'm going to be homeless, like whatever. So I get into a crisis center downtown. Okay. And again, I find myself in a really dirty shower. This time it was a shower floor. Yeah. Every time I kick heroin, like, and it's like a main kick, like I'm in a psych ward, dirty, or like institutions, really dirty shower or bathtub, like hysterically crying and kicking. Mm-hmm. So I'm in a crisis center doing that again. And I'm like, here we go again. And they helped me get into treatment. And so from there, I had to wait a little while and I got out of the crisis center. So I was kind of homeless for like a couple days. And then I found a friend who helped me stay in his apartment and just let me like hang out with him.
Okay. Until you get
Thank
into
God.
treatment.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah.
You're the man. So I get into treatment and I go to this place and it's incredible. It's like really, I'm not going to say the name of the place, but it's like a really well-known treatment center.
Long term.
It's Medi-Cal 90 day.
Oh, 90. Okay.
And then you can do like an extended 120.
Okay.
If you get an extension, you could do 120 days.
Okay.
But they do also have this modality, or they had this modality, I don't know if they're still doing it, but where they would like hire within. So like if you were doing good in the program and you were like really like doing the deal, they would give you the opportunity to stay and volunteer. And then they'd hire you as staff, right?
Which is what you did,
So
right?
that's what I did, right? So this place, I was so lucky that I ended up at this place. And I think what was the best part about it is that it was very 12-step heavy. It had a very strong backbone of 12-step. And so this is a fun fact too. The first book that I ever read in my life, honestly, from cover to cover, like I'd read books, but like honestly, from cover to cover, the first book I ever read in my entire life as a 35-year-old man was that blue big book.
Wow,
that
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what about being there worked for you?
So I think I was beaten into submission and that gift of desperation where I was just like, I'm over it. Like I had already done that first step that we talk about of like admitting that like the drugs aren't there. Like the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I get there and I learn about the 12-step and I learn about like all this stuff. But another thing that was really important was that modality that they have there of like being a family of men supporting men. There was a lot of like OGs there that were like father and are still like father figures to me, you know? And that was something that I was really missing for a large portion of my life, you know, was a solid male role model. Right.
So how long ago so this was in 2022?
Yeah.
Okay. So you stay there for 90 days?
Yeah. So
okay.
The last day I used something it was what? How many days are in March? March 31st of 2022.
Okay.
So my sobriety date's April Fool's. I've been getting high the whole time. Haha. No. My sobriety date's April Fool's Day. So 4/1/22 is my sobriety date. My intake date there was, I think it was May 3rd.
Okay.
So I showed up there like 30 days sober. Yeah. And then I was there for 60 days in the program. And my counselor, Jimmy, love you, buddy. He hates when you say I love you to him. He says, I don't hate you. That's his response. That's his way to say I love you. Yeah. Great guy. But yeah, I was just surrounded by these great men. And I did 60 days. My counselor was like, you're crushing it. Like you've worked the steps. Like I did a 5th step with this guy, Big Book Rich, who's like a legendary man of 12-step. Right. And I remember, you know, it was a dry run of the steps really, right? Because it wasn't like I didn't have a sponsor, like whatever, but it still was like, I was still working my first round of the steps. Yeah. I hated the whole like spirituality, the G word. I was like, at that point, I was like, if there is a G, fuck that dude.
Totally.
For giving me the life that I was very like, a lot of my defects were like entitlement, like I deserve this. The world is unfair. There's something wrong with me. Like poor me, like, which like a lot of it was true, but a lot of it was also bullshit. Like, I don't belong in this world. And I have mental health issues, which like I do have really gnarly mental health stuff, but I know how to treat it, how to navigate it. Yeah.
What was your experience with the steps? And I always ask this if somebody is a 12-step person.
Yeah.
And do you have a favorite step or a step that was the most impactful? And it could just be all of them. But if there's one that when you look back on it, you feel the most, you're like, that was my favorite quote. Like, this is when I had a profound shift in the way that I think, something like that.
Yeah. So that's such a good question, but it's like the answer is different for like where I've been at in my sobriety, right? I remember at that time, my first run, the 5th step was the most impactful to me, like 4th and 5th, right? So like writing down my defects of character, and basically what I get out of a 4-step, or what I got out of a 4-step, was there were things that I knew, right? Like I know that I know 2 + 2 is 4. I know that I don't know astrophysics. I didn't know that I didn't know that my fears were subconsciously creating, like manifesting the things that I was afraid of happening to happen. So like, it was like, I'm afraid she's going to leave me, so I'm going to push her away and make her leave me. I'm afraid that I'm not good enough to be successful, so I'm just going to do the bare minimum and not be successful.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, when I look back at my life, it made sense. And I brought my subconscious mind forward to my conscious mind, and I figured out a bunch of shit about myself that I didn't know that I didn't know. Does that make sense?
Yes. That's the 4-step, and like seeing the behavioral patterns and changing your
like
whole
learning
life.
your shadow self, like Carl Jung stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So like, that was probably the one that was like, whoa, for me in the first, at first. 6 and 7 were a nightmare for me because I read them wrong. I read it as became willing to have myself remove my defects of character on my own by myself by worrying and obsessing about them.
Right. And then you can't, which is incredibly frustrating. Yeah. I had the same experience.
Yeah.
So what was the fix for that ultimately?
I met this guy at a meeting. His name was Rob, and he looks like Santa Claus. And he pulled me aside and he was like, dude, what's wrong? Like, I can see the smoke coming out of your ears before you even got into the meeting. And I was like, 6 and 7, how do I figure out the defects that I don't know that I have, that like, blah, 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 that I'm like still doing subconsciously. Like, I really need to get this, And he's like, listen, man, he's like, all you got to do is not get loaded and try and be a good person. That's it. He's like, you're going to figure out what your defects of character are, and you're going to get new ones. Like, just don't get loaded and like try and be a good human being today. That's it. And that helped with that. And I think now, for where I'm at now, like, I think step 3 is one that's like very underestimated and underlooked.
What does step 3 look like for you in action? Because I really struggle with that. I don't know how to turn things over to God. I kind of don't even know what that means. If I'm stressed out about something, I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know how to let go. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you in action?
For me, it just means like understanding completely that like I have no control over outside issues. And the only thing I can do is something that I can do in me with contrary positive action. And it also helps me understand that like, this was a big one for me too in sobriety. I'm sure like you've gone through it too. We all do, right? Is like the drugs and alcohol were my solution, right? You hear that everywhere, right? You take the solution away, and then I'm left with me and my problems. And if I'm not working on them, I'll look to other things. So what else? A big thing for step 3 for me was like really understanding that there is no outside thing that I can take or do that is going to make me feel better internally for a substantial period of time. None of it is sustainable. Like, getting the house is going to make me feel better, but then I'm going to want a nicer house.
That's a really good way to make step 3 an action.
Yeah.
Or not even an action, but like a concrete awareness.
Yeah.
Because if I have totally turned it over, then there's no way anything else is going to fill this.
Yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
It's that famous. It's that famous like page that's quoted 417. Yeah. Nothing happens in God's world by mistake.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like just totally knowing that like if I'm doing the best that I can, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, even if that means being terrible and like in my defects of character and whatever. Right?
How do you know if you're taking the right step for your life, though? This is where I struggle sometimes. I'm like, I don't know. Should I do the podcast full fucking time and wrestle with these guys? Or should I manage the studio full fucking time, which I've done for a million years?
Yeah.
How do you know? Turn it over to God. I don't know what that means.
So this is where this comes into play for me, is when I don't know if it's something like that, that's where I seek higher power through others that are trustworthy people, where like good orderly direction, that God, right, comes into play. And I just ask trustworthy people, or like if I really sit and meditate, the right answer will come to me eventually of like, this is what you're supposed to do.
Same. I do a two-way prayer thing where I write the response. And so it's sort of a similar
Yeah.
thing. Like I'm listening and then I write. And I do get the answer, even though I just said that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
It's tough though to like do in time. So that book that we're talking about, right? It like some of my spirituality stuff, right? Like you asked, like I'm like seem like a spiritually fit guy, which like, thank you. I appreciate that. I probably I don't feel that way like in my head a lot, right? So there's a line in the book that says, see where religious people are right. It doesn't say see that Catholicism is right or see that religion is right. It just says see where religious people are right. So I started dipping into different religions and like religious people, and I became a huge Ram Dass guy.
Okay.
Huge Ram Dass guy. So like my brain was so spagacked from like all the ADHD, mental illness, like crack smoking, like all of that stuff. Like even in sobriety, I was so spracked. I would listen to Ram Dass tapes to go to sleep every night because my brain won't stop when I go to sleep.
And that he's just written books, right? And that would be your practice, would be reading the books. There's no actual.
So he has like thousands of hours on YouTube that you can listen to.
Oh, really?
His like Dharma talks.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would just throw on like one of his talks.
I love that.
And I would go to sleep to that every single night for the first year of my sobriety.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And that really taught me a lot about like just like not having control over things and like karma and like stuff. And I just like picked what I liked about it. And one of the main things is like so Ram Dass is such an interesting guy because he was a guy, if you don't know about him, he studied with Timothy Leary. He was a psychologist at Harvard during the LSD boom, right? And so where Timothy Leary was like, went one way with it where he's like, we need to put it in the drinking water and everyone needs to be on acid so they can have a spiritual experience. Ram Dass eventually figured out like, hey, so, you know, you get high when you do these things, but you come down, right? So like maybe there's another way to go about this. So he moved to India and he started like doing that kind of stuff and trying to practice like Buddhism and Hinduism and stuff like that. And he found this guru, Maharaji, and he studied under him, and then he brought it back to America and like wrote those books, and that was his thing. And one of the main messages that I try to live by that Maharaji gave to Ram Dass was just like love everyone and feed people, meaning like love everybody, tell the truth, and be of service. Right? Which is like really hard to do, but that's kind of like our 10, 11, and 12, which today for me are the most important ones.
Okay.
When I'm doing those three every day.
And that's what he decided was the connection. It's not LSD. It's what you just said.
Yeah,
right?
It's just a connection.
That's the constant connection
to spirituality. And like every day, life is going to throw different scenarios at you that are going to throw you out of alignment with that, you know, spirituality.
Yeah.
And that serenity that we talk about.
Right.
But you can get back to it if you
with
do
10,
the
11,
work.
12.
Yeah,
if you're a 12-step person. So what does 10, 11, 12 look like for you now?
So 10 is to continue to like evaluate myself and have awareness of like, am I being a good person or not? Where can I be better? Even in a scenario where I feel like I've been hurt and wronged and it's like 99.9% that other person that hurt me, there's always a part that I have in it. And like, what can I do to better myself in that way? Because like I said, like with the outside stuff making me feel better, like it's an inside job. So like even if I'm pointing the finger rightfully at somebody, like what are the three pointing back at me trying to tell me? It's always something. It's always, even in the worst scenario, like there's always something that I can get out of it and learn from it. So that's 10. And then like 11 is just to continue to pray and meditate. And for me, like praying is just talking to myself, really, you know, like in my head. Like it's not myself, but it's like whatever that thing is, it's just like, please help me be a better human being so that I can help others. Give me strength so that I could blah, 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 you know? or like somebody that I do feel like did me wrong. I could do that one that we all hate so much, but we know it works. Pray for that person that they get everything that we want.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, a week later, like after doing it every day, you don't hate them anymore.
Totally. Yes. It's bizarre.
I hate it.
I know. I do
love
too.
it.
I do too. I know.
Isn't it great?
Yes, it is. It's like this weird secret weapon that's super annoying.
Yeah.
Do you have a meditation practice?
Yeah, I switched it up over time. Like
me
it
too.
started out where like I would just listen to those Ram Dass tapes, you know, and then I would do like some yoga, and then I would like meditate in the morning and kind of just like sit quietly with myself in my bed. Like it's kind of simple for me. Like I don't super overdo it. Sometimes for me, it's just laying in my bed and just taking some time to do breathing exercises and to like really just get present.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do it throughout the day if I find myself disturbed, but like I'm a pretty chill guy, you know? Other people don't really bother me too much. It's I bother me.
Right.
It's the same thing as like, I mean, I stabbed myself like a bunch of times. Like nobody can hurt me as much as I can. Or as my brain can.
Right. And then 12 is obviously just service and meetings and like speaking at meetings and whatever.
Service is just like, even like as little as like every person that I walk past, like trying to smile at them as I'm walking, like total stranger. I'll never see that person again. Like smile when I walk past somebody, you know, try and be nice, like hold the door open. Like even people that I'm not, you know, it's not when it's not like for my, you know.
Yeah. Love everyone and feed people, or love everything and feed people?
Love everyone.
Love everyone and feed people. I love that. I love that. Last question. What does your life look like today, life-wise? Like, obviously, eventually you moved out of the treatment center. You started working. Did you ever get a GED?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did.
So at some point you go to school.
So I didn't even get a GED. I got like an actual high school diploma.
Oh,
there
wow.
was a program that you could do where...
At that treatment center?
No, this was in New York when I had moved back.
Oh, okay. So you took care of that a while ago.
I took care of that a while ago, yeah. I got an actual high school diploma, and then in the treatment center that I was in when I started working for it, I got my CADC. You know, I passed the, you know, SCRC, whatever, test, and I have a CADAC 2 now. So yeah, like these things that I never thought I would be capable of doing, like going to college and like being a productive member of society. Like I got straight A's when I went to school to do that stuff. Today, like I have my own apartment that I really like. It could be better, but like I also don't care. Like it's great. It's my little happy place and I love it. And I have good friends that are like non-transactional friends, as you know, right? People that like actually really care. I have a beautiful girlfriend. I have a car with matching tires that, you know, works when you turn the key. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I have a clean record, you know. All those material things, like those are great, right? Those are really cool and stuff. But really the biggest thing is like I'm in a place where I don't wake up and feel like there's something wrong with me. I don't have these beliefs of like, sometimes they creep back up, right? I think a lot of that stuff's like really burnt into us, but
the old narratives.
Yeah. There's like parts work therapy that I've done.
Oh, okay.
You know, like Richard Swartz did that
like
IFS.
Internal family systems. Yeah, IFS. Yeah. Okay.
So like there's a part of me that thinks, you know, like that I am not good enough, but that's just a part. It's not the whole thing. And that's kind of like some of that cognitive behavioral therapy stuff that like Vegas talked about too. And like shout out to Vegas. I love him.
I know, I do too.
We're like super similar humans.
Yeah.
I met him and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love
It's
Vegas.
the sad boys club.
It totally
Sad boys for life.
But you're like happy now, but you're very cheerful on the outside, you know?
But we like listen to Elliott Smith and like, you know,
Sad boy stuff. Okay, I lied. Last question, because I realized recently, I used to ask this all the time and I don't anymore. When you look back at your life, are you grateful that you became an addict and that you're in recovery? Or is there a part of you that wishes, nope, I wish none of this would have happened, that I would have been a regular person that went to college and grad school and got married?
No. Okay. So grateful. Don't regret any of it. Like super, super stoked that happened because it made me who I am today. And then like also doing what I do for work. And even if I don't stay like working in treatment, because as we know, that can get wonky, right? I know that I have a purpose in helping people, right? And I love doing that. So like there's plenty of things that I can do for work that involve helping people.
And all of those experiences inform our ability to help people more.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't, that's just true.
I have a PhD in fuckery, dude.
Yes,
you
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So it gives me that, all of those things that I would beat myself up over in the past, like, hypervigilance and like, people pleasing and like all those, some of those things that I talked about, the fear, like the panic attacks, like all of that stuff, like that helps me today. Like all of that stuff, like helps me be able to learn who somebody is so I can connect with them and I can help them. And, I think my favorite part about this whole recovery get down is like, and this is the spiritual thing too, is like understanding that like no matter how far down the scale you've gone, right, like there is still a light that is in all of us, and I believe that light is, you could call it God or whatever it is. It's something. And no matter how far down the scale you've gone, like when you work with people and you have sponsees, or if you work in treatment or whatever, like you see so many people come in, and I was one of those people too, like so broken, and that light is like completely shut off, or there's just like a little flicker, and then like you could just love on them and you love them and feed them. And like without just making suggestions, like we don't tell people what to do, like you just be there for them and like not try and control them, and just be like, hey, like I'm here, me too, like you're going through this shit, like I get it. I think that's the most important thing that we can do for people, is just be like, I understand. So like this podcast, like somebody can watch this and be like, whoa, he gets it, and he's sober and he's happy and he's not suicidal anymore, like what? And then that bright light will turn on in people, and when you realize that like you can do that for other people, which then does it for you, that altruism that we learn about, it's really like the meaning of altruism is like helping others and not getting anything out of it. There is that side little hack
where we do
about it, where it's like we do, our light stays bright.
Yeah.
Like that's how we stay spiritually fit.
One of my favorite quotes ever is Viktor Frankl, "What is to give light must endure burning."
Yeah.
And, we got set on fire,
Yeah.
but that is how I light the way.
Yeah.
And so I don't regret it either. Bryan, thank you so much for coming up.
Yeah.
Thank you for being my trial run with my puggies. And they're so sweet, but it's also not their fault. Like, I need to take them outside. Do you know what I mean? So it's not their fault. They're like little babies.
They're great.
And I'm glad that you wore the trial run. I do appreciate it, actually.
Good.
That was helpful.
I do too. Yeah.
So, thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you for coming up.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay. Woo!